Chapter 1270. Wang Kai. You really came. Little Wang suddenly turned around and looked at Wang Kai in surprise. She was just worried that Wang Kai would come to rescue her. She did not expect him to come just as she finished speaking. Of course. I am mighty and domineering, and my abilities are overwhelming. I have never met a worthy opponent since I started cultivating. Finding you guys is simply too easy. Unfortunately, no one knows how lonely it is. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a rather proud expression, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. You're still bragging." Little Wang curled her lips in disdain and asked seriously, "What realm are you in now?" "Me? The strongest realm, the realm that no one can defeat," Wang Kai said casually with his hands behind his back. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Can I defeat King Yu?" The king blinked her beautiful eyes and stared at Wang Kai. Little Wang also looked at him with great anticipation. They naturally knew that 9 out of 10 sentences that came out of Wang Kai's mouth could not be trusted. It was very possible that all 10 sentences were just bragging. "King Yu?" Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He couldn't help but urge his mind to summon the system page. Host, Wang Kai. Occupation, Mechanic Realm, King Yu. Divine Technique, Undying and Indestructible, Dominator Level, Divine Skill, Strengthened Dominator Level, Divine Weapon, Sky Piercer Dominator Level, The Power of God, Full Spirit God's Eyes, Torch Dragon's Eyes. Energy, 9 110 bragging points, 1 300 experience, 40009000. After a glance, Wang Kai was immediately satisfied and said indifferently, "My true realm is at King Yu's realm. However, my combat strength is above the Supreme Being realm." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Then kill King Yu. "He's right here," Little Wang said while gritting her teeth. The king also nodded lightly. With regards to this, Wang Kai appeared rather nonchalant. With a flip of his hand, he tore open space. His power penetrated through space and immediately captured a middle-aged man. This person was none other than King Zeus, who had sent Wang Kai to the Avicii Hell. After seeing Wang Kai, Zeus's expression didn't change at all. It was as if he had expected this to happen. "You are very strong. If I had known this earlier, I would have killed you back then to prevent any future troubles. Since you have found your way here, then go ahead and kill me," the Ian King said indifferently. "Tsk, you seem to be very calm?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and looked at him playfully. He said disdainfully, "Now, even if you want to die, I won't fulfill your wish. Why don't you think of a way to make you suffer so much that you wish you were dead?" "You, hiss. Zeus took a deep breath and coldly stared at Wang Kai. He said in a deep voice, "You don't have to go to this extent. Although I sent you to the Avicii Hell, I didn't harm your life in the end. You have also successfully escaped from the Avicii Hell and reached such a level. I only ask that you give me a quick death. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see the scene of you being killed by Lord King Yu." "Lord King Yu?" Hearing this, Wang Kai curled his lips and looked at him with disdain. He coldly smiled and said, "In the end, you are just a little brother. Hee, whatever you say. If you want to do it, then do it quickly," Zeus said with a faint smile. His expression was very calm and there was not the slightest hint of fear. It was as if he had disregarded life and death. Regarding this, Wang Kai could be said to be extremely surprised. "Since you are not afraid of death, why did you run away? Why don't you stay or come find me and ask for my help to kill you?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and spread out his hands. He looked at Zeus speechlessly. "It's not that I am not afraid of death. If there is a chance to live, I will not give it up. But now, I don't think I can survive under your hands, Zeus said indifferently. Then do you know that escaping and surrendering are two very different crimes? Wang Kai flipped his hand and shot out streams of energy. They gathered into a long blade and placed it in front of Zeus' neck. It doesn't matter. Zeus indifferently closed his eyes and did not say another word. Since things had come to this, he had already accepted his fate. Unnecessary struggle would still lead to death in the end. Since that was the case, he might as well preserve his dignity as an expert of the Zeus realm. Kill him, Zeus said coldly. No, 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 I want to give him to the Dog King, hee. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but grin. Then, with a thought, the void was quickly torn open. The Dog King was standing in the space with his eyes wide open and his tail wagging. I'll give him to you. Take good care of him. Don't let him die, but don't let him have a good time, Wang Kai said casually. He flipped his hand and threw Zeus into the void. Hee, the Prince of Dogs really likes this job. The Dog King opened his eyes wide and chuckled. He bit Zeus and disappeared. One could vaguely hear curses coming from the space. That dog is your demon pet? His eyes are so scary, little Wang said with a pale face. She had never seen a husky before and was afraid of dogs. After seeing the Dog King, she was naturally afraid. He's just a dabbler. In fact, he's not scary at all. On the contrary, he's very timid. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, I really can't see how he's timid. He even dares to bite Zeus. Little Wang rolled her eyes, some lingering fear in her heart. He himself is in the Zeus realm. Why wouldn't he dare to bite Zeus? In terms of battle strength, he's even more awesome than Zeus King. Well, this is what Ben Shao taught him. If I didn't teach him, he naturally wouldn't have this ability. Wang Kai said with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy value. Isn't it just helping him raise his cultivation realm? Teaching? Little Wang was inwardly exasperated. Can you help us raise our cultivation too? The king frowned and asked expectantly. Of course. However, if I raise your cultivation right now, I can raise your cultivation to the level of Zeus King. I can also raise your cultivation to the level of King Yu. Of course, the price is different, Wang Kai said with a smile. Price? Hearing this, the two sisters looked at each other. They pursed their red lips and asked in a deep voice, What price? Snap. Wang Kai snapped his fingers and said casually, It's very simple. To raise your cultivation to the Zeus realm, you need to have a wedding night with me. To raise your cultivation to the King Yu realm, you too need to have a wedding night with me. Now you can choose. Chapter 1271. The result was obvious. The 3 Zeus kings of Zeus Palace had no power to resist at all. Regarding this, Wang Kai also felt that it was very boring. In this Universe 3, I'm afraid that only the first district has the ability to fight, right? Wang Kai rubbed his chin and thought to himself, speechless. In the next few days, the entire second district was completely unified under the control of Shen Gong. During this period, Wang Kai didn't make a move at all. With just Fatso Lu and the others, they were able to easily deal with it. Wang Kai, who was bored, sent the Empress of Fanzhou back to the 3rd district, where Jing Xian and the other girls were staying. He took Niu Zhetian, Cat Lord, and the Dog King to the 1st district alone. Under the leadership of Fatso Lu and the others, Shen Gong began to attack all the districts of the 3rd universe except for the 1st district. As long as the powerhouses of the 1st district didn't appear and didn't stop Shen Gong, no one in the 3rd universe was a match for Fatso Lu and the others. At the same time, in the 1st district of the 3rd universe, the forces here were very complicated, and most of them were sects and factions. Righteous sects, evil sects, rogue cultivators, and so on were everywhere. Boy, as King Yu realm cultivators, we should be ranked 4th in the first district according to our realms, right? Niu Zhetian stared and asked in a muffled voice. From Wang Kai, he learned that there were 3 realms above King Yu: Xeno, Immortal, and Supremacy. Of course, if they were ranked according to the number of stronger realms, Niu Zhetian, Cat Lord, and the Dog King would probably be ranked in the dozens or even hundreds. Wang Kai didn't know much about this. He didn't know how many Xeno, Immortal, and Supremacy there were in the first district. Let me take a look. Wang Kai frowned, then turned into his mechanic form and used the strengthening skill. His mind covered the entire first district and counted all the powerhouses who were stronger or weaker than him. After all, Wang Kai was now in the imperishable realm. Other than the Zhizuan, the others were not Wang Kai's match. Even if he spied on them, he wouldn't be discovered. As for those experts that couldn't be spied on, they were definitely at the utmost exalted level. There are close to 100 Quan Kings, more than 40 imperishable kings, 7 supremes, and close to 1,000 King Yu. As for the weakest King Zhou, there are simply too many to count. Wang Kai retracted his inner sight and returned to his original form. Congratulations to the host for successfully using the mechanic form. 10 energy points have been consumed. Host: Wang Kai class, Mechanic Realm, King Yu Divine Technique, Undying and Indestructible Overlord Level Divine Skill, Strengthen Overlord Level Divine Weapon, Heavenly Halberd Overlord Level, The Power of God, Full Spirit Divine Eye, Torch Dragon's Eye Energy, 8310 Bragging Points, 1500 Experience, 6000900 F***CK. So many? Cat Lord couldn't help but curse when he heard that. He didn't expect the first district to be so strong. Even though Wang Kai had raised his cultivation base to King Yu's realm, he was still ranked below the 150th place if he were to rank them down. Moreover, he didn't know how strong those close to 1,000 King Yu's realm experts were. If their combat power was strong, their ranking would be even lower. The 7 Supremes are in charge of the 7 Great Sects. They all boast that they are Supremes and are fighting over who is the real Supremes. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and said with a playful smile, "Kid, what are you going to do?" Niu Zhetian asked in surprise. "Hee, from what I see, Master, you should raise your strength first. Once you've reached the Supreme Being state, you can help us raise our strength. By then, wouldn't it be a piece of cake for you to F***CK anyone you want?" The Dog King grinned and chuckled. Niu Zhetian and Cat Lord agreed with this. However, according to Wang Kai's usual style, he wouldn't make such a choice. Sure enough, Wang Kai waved his arm and said disdainfully, "Aren't they just the 7 Great Sects? If I want to destroy them, won't it be a piece of cake?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Niu Zhetian and Cat Lord looked at each other and rolled their eyes speechlessly. As expected, Wang Kai wasn't a person who could stay idle. "Master, are we going to attack the 7 Great Sects now?" Dog King didn't care. He was used to following Wang Kai and was fearless of showing off. "It's just the 7 Great Sects. If I want to destroy them, I can do it now. However, let's join one of the sects first. It's more fun to deal with them separately, hee." Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Deal with them separately? What do you mean? Cat Lord stroked his beard and looked at Wang Kai suspiciously. It's simple. We'll each go and join one of the Supreme Taoist sects. After that, we'll make a name for ourselves in the Taoist sect. Then, we'll bring our men and beat them up. Once the grudge between the various Taoist sects reaches a certain point, it'll be the time of the Great War. Wang Kai rubbed his nose and laughed mockingly. Niu Zhetian was stunned when he heard this. Join the great sects separately, get a powerful identity, and lead their people to beat them up in a group to increase the hatred between the great sects? Indeed, if Wang Kai, Niu Zhetian, and the others acted separately, they would join 4 great sects. When the great sects started fighting, only 3 great sects would be left. In the end, will the 3 great sects take advantage of the situation? Cat Lord squinted his eyes and asked playfully. Of course not. The 4 Taoist sects that we have joined will join forces to attack the 3 Taoist sects when we face them. Let's beat the 3 Taoist sects into a mess first. Wang Kai laughed. Wouldn't it be very boring if the 7 great sects were mixed in? He would have to leave 3 great sects behind and beat them up personally, right? Hee, I like it. The Prince of Dogs will definitely complete the task beautifully. The Dog King said excitedly. However, you must remember that you can't expose your cultivation level completely. You should start from the Eternity King realm and slowly increase your cultivation level. That way, you will attract the attention of the elders. When the time comes, your status will naturally be higher. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled casually. Then, he stepped into the air and waved his hand. You guys can go and find a Tao sect to join. I'll choose the 5 mysterious Tao sect 1,000 miles ahead. Alright. I will choose the Tao sect which is 5,000 miles to the west. The Dog King looked around and then stepped into the air and disappeared. Niu Zhetian and Cat Lord looked at each other and nodded. Then, they went in different directions. Chapter 1272. 5 Profound Mountain, 5 Profound Tao Sect, at the foot of the mountain. Wang Kai, dressed in a white robe and with a sword at his waist, floated down with an indifferent expression. Looking at the disciples guarding the mountain gate, he said indifferently, I would like to ask the 2 senior brothers to report that I am Wang Kai, and I wish to enter the 5 Profound Tao Sect. With my talent and aptitude, I don't dare to say that I am the strongest in the 3rd universe, but I am still the 2nd strongest. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching the Xeno realm. Host, Wang Kai. Occupation, Mechanic realm, Xeno-divine technique, Undying and indestructible, Overlord level divine skill, Strengthening, Overlord level divine weapon, Heavenly halberd, Overlord level, the power of God, Full God divine eye, Torch dragon's eyes energy, 8610 bragging points, 1800 experience, 010000. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai only casually glanced at it before closing the system page. Right now, the aura he was releasing was only at the Myriad Cultivation God realm. At the age of 18, his appearance had reached the level of Myriad Cultivation God. In the 1st district, he was considered ordinary. At the very least, he had to reach the peak of the Eternal King realm before he could be considered a genius. The reason why he only released the aura of Myriad Cultivation God was very simple. In Wang Kai's words, it was to show off. Kid, you're quite interesting. Looking at your age, you should be 18 or 19, right? Wan Xioshan's realm is not bad. It's easy to become an inner disciple of the 5 Profound Tao sect, but... The disciple guarding the mountain gate suddenly paused, then waved his hand and said, But I'm sorry, now is not the time to recruit disciples. Hurry up and leave. You can come back in 3 days. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. Was the 5 Profound Tao sect going to recruit disciples in 3 days? Furthermore, these 2 disciples guarding the mountain gate were obviously only at the 1,000 cultivation God realm. If Wan Xioshan was an inner disciple, then wouldn't Qian Xioshan be an outer disciple? Since that was the case, how could he be so pretentious? Don't you know how to be polite? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with an indifferent expression, All of you better think carefully, as long as I join the 5 Profound Tao sect, at that time, I will definitely expel all of you from the Tao sect. However, if you report this now, I will still forgive all of you. Of course, you have to be respectful when dealing with geniuses, especially when dealing with monstrous geniuses like me. Do you understand? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Whoosh! Hearing this, the eyes of the 2 disciples guarding the mountain gate immediately darkened. Brat, you haven't even joined the Tao sect yet and you're already so arrogant. Once you join, wouldn't the entire Tao sect be yours? That's right. Don't look at how we are only in the realm of Qianxioshan. In the inner sect, we have a backer. If you don't scram, do you believe that I won't call my inner sect senior brothers over to greet you? Whoosh! Wang Kai suddenly raised his hand and gestured. Please! Please? The 2 disciples guarding the mountain gate were startled when they saw this. Then, they suddenly reacted. So he wasn't convinced and wanted them to call someone over? Good, good, good. You're awesome. You're really good at acting tough. You're acting tough, aren't you? Fine, I'll help you right away. As soon as he finished speaking, one of the disciples guarding the mountain gate gritted his teeth and sneered. He turned around and climbed up the 5 profound mountain. The other disciple stared coldly at Wang Kai and said disdainfully, Don't King run away. Oh right, don't say that you're going to pee or something. If you run down the urethra again, I've seen too many of these things. This should be something you do often, right? When Wang Kai heard this, black lines appeared on his forehead. He couldn't help but rub his nose and said with a faint smile, Don't worry. Not to mention the inner sect disciples. Even if an even stronger disciple comes, I'll still beat him up. You really know how to brag. The corner of the disciple's mouth twitched when he heard this. He waved his hand and said, All right, I hope you can keep this up for a while longer. What did you say? You actually dare to scold me and say that I'm acting tough? Wang Kai's brow suddenly twisted as he glared at him with a fierce expression. Swish! Seeing this gaze, the disciple was so scared that he kept retreating. I meant that you can keep acting tough for a while longer. I didn't say that you're acting tough. Cough cough, in short, I didn't mean it that way. The disciple trembled as he spoke. With your appearance, you still call yourself a disciple of the 5 profound Tao sect? Seeing this, Wang Kai curled his lips and immediately lost interest. He said indifferently, Don't talk to me anymore. If you talk to me again, I'll slap you to death. You're acting tough. Ck your mother, you still dare to provoke me? Before the disciple could finish speaking, Wang Kai's face darkened. He immediately stepped forward and slapped the disciple, causing him to fall to the ground. I really didn't say that you're acting tough. If you want to fight, just do it. Why do you have to? You're still King talking. Bang! Wang Kai kicked the disciple, causing him to vomit blood and fly out. Cough cough, good, you're good. Just you wait. The disciple got up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and stared coldly at Wang Kai. When faced with such a troublemaker, he could only remain silent. Who's the troublemaker? All of a sudden, a faint voice sounded. On the stone steps up the mountain, the disciple on guard was leading the way. Behind him was a young man in a blue robe. Seniorly, this is the person who is looking for trouble. He said that he would defeat all of the inner court disciples and even insulted you, seniorly, as an idiot. The disciple who was leading the way angrily said. However, in his heart, he was secretly delighted. Not only could he teach Wang Kai a lesson, he could also take the opportunity to scold seniorly. When the disciple who was beaten by Wang Kai saw this, his eyes lit up. He quickly stepped forward and said, That's right, seniorly. He also insulted you and called you an idiot. He said you were ugly and the mole on your chin looked disgusting. I was angry and argued with him, but Senior Lee's face darkened when he heard this, especially when he mentioned the mole on his chin. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Who are you? Why did you insult me? Do I have any grudges against you? How dare you hurt a Taoist disciple? Do you know that this is a capital offense? Senior Li reprimanded with a pale face. When Wang Kai saw this, he touched his nose and couldn't help but look at the two disciples who were guarding the mountain gate. They were obviously taking the opportunity to insult Senior Li, but Senior Li believed them. You're really an idiot. They didn't wrong you. Wang Kai shook his head and laughed. Chapter 1273. Bastard! If I don't teach you a lesson, you really won't know how terrifying the 5 profound Tao sect is. Senior Li's face was ashen as he roared angrily. With a flip of his hand, he took out a long spear. His feet moved like a snake as the long spear danced continuously. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose as he looked at him in surprise. He really wanted to see what kind of move this Senior Li could use. This is the 9-snake spear, Senior Li's famous consummate skill. That's right, hee. Now this brat is dead for sure. He has nowhere to hide. The two disciples guarding the mountain gate grinned sinisterly when they saw this. This time, not only would they be able to destroy Wang Kai, they would also be able to take the opportunity to insult an inner court senior. This feeling could be said to be very satisfying. 9-snake spear? There's nowhere to hide? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. Looking at Senior Li who was circling around him, he couldn't help but laugh. Are you done yet? You want to show me the power of the 5 profound Tao sect with your current appearance? If I wanted to beat you up, would you have the chance to use such a troublesome move? Ignorant thing. Senior Li snorted in disdain. He suddenly stopped in his tracks, waved his long spear, and pointed it at Wang Kai. He sneered disdainfully. Can you touch me? Looks like you're really an ignorant fool. You don't even know about the 9-snake spear of the 5 profound Tao sect. When I use the 9-snake steps, others won't be able to touch me in the slightest. Oh, is that so? Then I'll give it a try. Swish. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai's figure disappeared. He directly arrived in front of Senior Brotherly, and with a flip of his hand, he directly slapped out. Pow! Plop! Under the slap, Senior Li didn't even have time to dodge. He was hit until his face was burning with pain. His body was like a cannonball as he flew out. Were you just acting cool in front of me? Wang Kai rubbed his nose and looked at him with some disappointment. He originally thought that this 9-snake spear technique really had something unique. In the end, it was still too weak. Senior Li, F***CK, did we get into trouble? Seeing this scene, the expressions of the two disciples guarding the mountain gate changed greatly in shock. For a moment, panic surged into his heart. When he looked at Wang Kai again, his face was pale with fright. Cough, cough, you are definitely not at the myriad cultivation god realm. Definitely not, Zeus. The aura you just released was that of the King of Eternity. There's no mistake. Senior Brotherly coughed out a mouthful of blood and got up from the ground. He raised his finger and pointed at Wang Kai, the veins on his forehead bulging. F***CK. He was indeed pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. The two disciples looked at each other. Then, they turned around and rushed up the mountain. If he was at the Eternity King realm, it would be difficult for Senior Brotherly to deal with him. Now, he could only ask the strongest disciple of the inner sect to come out. Wait, don't go. Wang Kai frowned and said casually. Whoosh. As soon as these words came out, the two disciples were so scared that their bodies stiffened. Immediately, they ran away at a speed several times faster than before. Do you think we are idiots? Stand there and wait for you to beat us? If you don't let us go, you are a tiger's arm. Hearing this, Wang Kai was startled. His eyes flickered as he looked at the two disciples guarding the mountain gate. He couldn't help but feel amused. These two are interesting. It seems that it's necessary to take them as subordinate. They can't fight, but they can act tough. Cough, cough, I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? What kind of enmity do you have with me? How dare you scheme against me like this? Senior Brotherly was furious. His face was so dark that it was frightening. I have no enmity with you. It's just that there's something wrong with your brain. This is also the reason why I want to take them in to act tough and ignore you. Wang Kai glanced at him impatiently and immediately slapped him with a flip of his hand. Do you think I want to be talked to by you, Bang? Before Senior Brotherly could finish his words, his figure had already been sent flying by Wang Kai's slap. He spat out blood and fell heavily onto the ground, fainting immediately. Isn't it a bit too much to join the 5 Xian Dao sect so ostentatiously? It's better to keep a low profile. Wang Kai rubbed his chin and pondered. While he was pondering, he had already stepped onto the 5 Xian mountain. How far can you two run? Buzz. Along the way, Wang Kai walked forward with his hands behind his back. He couldn't help but smirk as he looked at the 2 disciples who were pinned to the ground by the force. What kind of cultivation are you this? Please spare our lives. We have offended you before, but we don't deserve to die, right? The 2 disciples guarding the mountain gate immediately burst into tears. They couldn't believe that Wang Kai was still able to control the 2 of them on the 5 Xian mountain. Could it be that the elders of the 5 Xian Dao sect were all freeloaders? Did they not notice it at all? They didn't know that Wang Kai's cultivation was currently at the omnipotent Emperor realm, and his battle strength was comparable to the Supreme Being realm. Even if he didn't use his full strength, the strength of the omnipotent Emperor realm was enough to prevent the elders of the 5 Xian Dao sect from discovering him. Only those of the Undead realm and the Supreme Being realm could discover him. However, it was obvious that those of the Undead realm and the Supreme Being realm did not care about what was happening here. Why are you running away? I won't kill you. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and looked at them playfully. With a wave of his hand, he dispersed the force on their bodies. The 2 disciples who had regained their freedom did not let down their guard. They looked at Wang Kai with pale faces, wondering what he was trying to do. What are your names? Wang Kai asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. Chao Nima. Chu Tata. As the 2 of them reported their names, Wang Kaiji was stunned by what he heard. What the F******K? What the F*****K? Are the 2 of you acting tough in front of me? Do you think I'm that stupid Senior Brotherly? Wang Kai's forehead was filled with black lines as he stared at them unkindly. No, I'm really called Chao Nima. Yeah, I'm really called Chu Tata. It's because our names are too special that we were chased to the foot of the mountain to be the gatekeepers. You have to believe us, we really don't dare to lie to you. Hearing the 2 of them crying and explaining, as well as their sincere expressions, Wang Kai couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He secretly thought that if he were to establish his own sect, he wouldn't be comfortable with such a name, right? Just hearing such a name was like cursing someone. Who could stand it? Okay, I'll call you and I Ma in the future. Little Chu. Wang Kai frowned and said after thinking for a while. Okay. The 2 of them nodded, but they quickly reacted. They secretly thought that the crisis hadn't been resolved yet, and they were already close? What was going on? Chapter 1274. I want to take you in as my followers. Do you know what it means to be a follower? Wang Kai asked indifferently with his hands behind his back. Follower. So that's how it is. You should have said so earlier. The 2 of them heaved a sigh of relief when they heard this. Who doesn't know about followers? There are many senior brothers in the inner sect who have many followers. That's right, direct disciples have even more followers. However, they can't compare to the sovereign's daughter and the great senior sister. Their followers, regardless of gender, include almost all the disciples of the 5 profound Tao sect. If we weren't chased here to guard the door, we would also be their followers. As they finished speaking, the 2 disciples laughed mischievously and looked at each other with envy. Sovereign's daughter? and the great senior sister of the 5 profound Tao sect? Hearing this, Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose and said playfully, "Don't worry, if you follow me, you will also have followers. Now, take me to participate in the disciple trial, or do I have to find an elder before I can enter the 5 profound Tao sect? The disciple trial will only be held in 3 days. However, if you have the ability to catch the eye of an elder, you can go look for an inner court elder or an outer court elder. You should be more confident in this. With your Eternity King realm cultivation, you definitely have the ability to enter the outer court." The 2 disciples looked at each other and nodded in unison. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly when he heard this. After thinking for a while, he said, "With Eternity King realm cultivation, am I not qualified to become an inner sect disciple? And there's a chance of being rejected?" "That's right, it depends on your talent. Even if you're very young, if you don't pass the test in both aspects and can't reach a higher realm, you'll still be thrown into the outer sect. And, if you don't have the confidence, it's better not to go to the inner sect. If it's light, you'll be thrown into the outer sect. If it's heavy, you'll be broken and thrown out of the sect. After all, now is not the time for the disciple trial." The 2 disciples reminded him one after another. "If you ask me, you should come back in 3 days," Chao Nima said with a frown. Chu Dadi also nodded in agreement and said, "This is the best method, and also the safest method. If he were to participate in the disciple selection, even if he were to fail, it would be fine. At most, he would just return home. However, if he were to disturb the elder now, he would definitely end up in a miserable state if he failed to pass the test. Of course, I'm confident. I'm not afraid to tell you that I have the aptitude and talent to surpass a great master. Well, to be more precise, I'm more awesome than a great master." Wang Kai waved his hand and said proudly. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values." Still bragging, when Chao Nima and Chu Dadi heard this, they rolled their eyes. "Let's go. Take me to see the elder. If you want to see the outer sect, then start from the outer sect." Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression, "Ah, that's right." The 2 were stunned for a moment before they nodded in agreement. However, in their hearts, they looked down on Wang Kai. Just a moment ago, he was King confident and even bragged that he was stronger than a great master. Since that was the case, why did he choose to meet the outer sect elder? Wasn't he feeling guilty? Of course, the 2 of them only dared to think about it and didn't dare to say it out loud. "Let's go to the outer sect." Following which, under the lead of Chao Nima and Chu Dadi, Wang Kai successfully arrived at the mountainside where the outer sect was located. He was able to meet the outer sanctum elder easily. "Brat, you want to become an outer sect disciple of the 5 profound Tao sect?" An old man wearing a gray robe with white hair and a beard asked indifferently. "That's right. Starting from the outer sect, I'll bring you all to the place of direct disciples," Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. "Huh!" Hearing this, the outer court elder's expression was clearly startled. He never thought that the youth in front of him would be such a rash youth. He started bragging about starting from the outer sect? And he even wanted to bring along an outer sect elder like himself? "Do you think this is your home? How can I allow you to speak such nonsense?" The outer sect elder frowned and reprimanded in displeasure. "Cough cough, that elder, he's in the Eternity King realm." Chao Nima reminded softly. "What's the Eternity King realm?" "What? You're in the Eternity King realm?" Halfway through his words, the outer sect elder was startled. He stared at Wang Kai and sized him up. When Wang Kai intentionally released his pressure, his expression changed drastically. "Looking at your age, you should only be 18? 19? At most 20? The outer sect elder stroked his beard and asked excitedly. "Well, I just turned 18 this year. To be exact, I'm only 17 years old." I still need 3 more months to turn 18. But my sister said that the difference of 3 months doesn't have much to do with being 18 years old, so she let me turn 18 years old. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said without blushing or skipping a beat, "Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values." 17? The outer sect elder was even more shocked when he heard this. A 17-year-old Eternity King Realm expert, his talent was not low. His future achievements would definitely be extremely high. Have you gone to the inner sect to test your talent? The outer sect elder asked softly. No, didn't I say that you have to start from the outer sect? You old bastard, why are you so slow? If you say any more nonsense, I'll slap you. Do you believe me? Wang Kai frowned and said impatiently. Old bastard. Old bastard? Hearing this, the outer sect elder's face stiffened and his eyes turned cold. No, you misunderstood. I didn't mean to scold you. I'm speaking in my hometown dialect. This is a compliment and also a form of respect for the senior. Wang Kai grinned and hurriedly explained. He secretly warned himself to keep a low profile. Then what do you mean by slapping me? The outer sect elder was so angry that he laughed. After cultivating for so long, he had never heard of anyone speaking in his hometown dialect. He was actually an old bastard. Slap you, that's. Wang Kai's forehead was filled with black lines. In the end, he couldn't think of an explanation, so he directly flipped his hand and slapped out. With a pause sound, the outer sect elder was instantly sent flying. Damn it! Why are you so serious? Seriously? Wang Kai said with a dark face and a speechless expression. F***ck, what an expert! When Chao Nima and Chu Dadi saw this, they were both astonished. One had to know that the outer sect elder's cultivation was also in the Eternity King realm. Moreover, he had been in the Eternity King realm for a long time, yet he was sent flying by Wang Kai's slap. Didn't this mean that Wang Kai's strength was above the Eternity King realm? Or was it that within the Eternity King realm, his fighting strength was very strong and terrifying? Chapter 1275. Wushuan Dao Sect, Outer Sect. In a rather elegant hall, Wang Kai sat at the head of the table with his legs crossed, holding an exquisite teapot in his hand. Below him, the outer sect elder knelt on the ground with a bitter face, looking at Wang Kai anxiously. Beside him, Chao Nima and Chu Tadi sat leisurely drinking tea. In the future, who has the final say in the outer sect? Wang Kai asked indifferently. You have the final say. The outer sect elder smiled apologetically. Encountering such a powerful and terrifying young man, he could only endure it. At least for now, he couldn't do anything to him. At least, he had to calm him down so that he could seek help from the inner sect elders. How many disciples are there in the outer sect? Wang Kai frowned and asked with satisfaction. Young Master Wang, there are a total of 93,764 disciples in the outer sect. A total of 300 outer sect elders are in charge of them. I'm just one of them, the weakest one. The outer sect elder quickly replied with a smile. It was obvious that he wanted Wang Kai to find trouble with the other elders. Oh, then how many King Realm disciples are there? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked curiously. According to Chao Nima and Chu Tadi, King Realm disciples would be thrown into the outer sect as long as their talent wasn't up to standard. Since that was the case, there should be many King Realm disciples in the outer sect, right? Replying to young Master Wang, there are a total of 300 King Realm disciples, all of them are outer sect elders. I am one of them, but I am the weakest. The outer sect elder rubbed his hands and smiled. Oh. Wang Kai gently nodded when he heard this. He thought to himself that 300 Eternity Kings could only survive in the outer sect. If they were placed in the 2nd district, the 3rd district, or even the 10,000 district, they would definitely be overlords. It had to be said that people walked to higher places while water flowed to lower places. Even if they could be tyrants in other districts, many cultivators were still willing to live in a powerful place. "Are you not welcomed in the outer sect?" Wang Kai asked indifferently. "Not welcomed." Hearing this, the outer sect elder was obviously stunned. He said with some doubt, "What does young Master Wang mean by this? Who doesn't like him?" "Of course it's the inner sanctum, personal disciples and the like." Without waiting for Wang Kai to speak, Chao Nima and Chu Tadi frowned and spoke at the same time. About that, it's not that I don't like you. It's just that compared to the inner sect, or even the direct disciples, our outer sect is indeed nothing. The outer court elder gave a very pertinent reply. The corners of Wang Kai's mouth couldn't help but twitch in extreme disdain when he saw him lowering himself and accepting his fate as if he was inferior to others. "As a cultivator, how can I be willing to live under others? No wonder you can't reach a higher realm. Your heart has already decided your future." Wang Kai looked at him indifferently and said disdainfully, My talent isn't high enough. Even if I have a rebellious heart, it's useless. In the end, I'm just asking for my own humiliation." Regarding this, the outer court elder was very open-minded and didn't show any signs of displeasure. "If your talent isn't high enough, don't you know how to work hard? Do you know that when I first started cultivating, I couldn't even break through a realm in 10 years? But with hard work, I used 100,000 years to reach King Yu's realm." Wang Kai shrugged and said with a proud expression, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience points, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point." Hearing this, the outer court elder was stunned. Wang Kai's appearance and real age were indeed 19 years old. Moreover, he had just turned 19 not long ago, right? This matter couldn't be fake. But he said that he used 100,000 years to reach King Yu's realm? Wasn't this obviously full of nonsense? However, from Wang Kai's words, he found out his true realm. King Yu's realm. A 19-year-old King Yu's realm. If news of this spread to the inner court or the direct disciples' residence, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Don't worry, with me here, the outer court will definitely become the most awesome place in the 5 profound Tao sect. Now, tell me, where do the cultivation resources of the outer court disciples come from? And how many are there? Wang Kai frowned and said indifferently, "This." Hearing this, the outer court elder was stunned at first, but soon after, he was inwardly disdainful. With a mere King Yu's realm, he might be able to dominate the outer court and inner court. But in the hands of the direct disciples, or even the entire 5 profound Tao sect, he was nothing. However, on the surface, he still maintained a smile and replied respectfully, "In reply to young Master Wang, the outer court disciples' resources must be obtained from the Hall of Merit. Of course, it must be exchanged with one's own merit point. At the very least, how much one can exchange for depends on how many merit points one has." Hall of Merit? Merit points? Exchanged by oneself? Hearing this, Wang Kai rubbed his nose and said playfully, "Then where do I get these merit points from?" Naturally, it's from completing missions outside, such as hunting demonic beasts, spirit beasts, corpse cultivators, ghost cultivators, and so on. Depending on the realm, you will receive different merit points. Of course, within the Tao sect, there is also a proud battle platform. As long as you step onto this platform and fight with other disciples and win, you will also receive merit points. Chapter 1276. What's going on? Why are all of you injured? Suddenly, a stern questioning voice sounded out, causing many of the outer court elders to be overjoyed. "Elder Lu, save us! There's a brat of unknown origin here, who said that he wants to kill us and dominate the outer court." He also wants to take away all of our merit points. Many of the outer sect elders yelled loudly. In response, Wang Kai was very calm. He crossed his legs and looked at them with a playful expression. He had no intention of stopping them. He wanted to see what kind of tricks they were going to play. Elder Lu, the head elder of the inner court. His cultivation realm has reached the peak of King Yu's realm. Chao Nima frowned and reminded in a deep voice. He must have come to the outer court for the disciple trial that will be held in 3 days. Chu Dati said with a darkened face. It could only be said that Elder Lu of the inner court had come at the wrong time. Someone of unknown origin? Bastard! How did a person of unknown origin manage to sneak into the outer sect? What's going on? Quickly tell us. As a white-haired old man walked in, a stern questioning voice rang out. Many outer court elders were startled when they heard the elder's words. They looked at each other and did not know how to answer. It was because they did not report it. They wanted to fight with Wang Kai first. Furthermore, with Wang Kai's cultivation realm and age, if he was really at King Yu's realm, he would definitely be handsomely rewarded if he was recommended to the inner court or direct elders. If they told Elder Lu of the inner court, wouldn't it be a waste of effort? Cut the crap and hand over your merit points. We agreed on a fair fight. I defeated 299 of you and won. Are you going back on your word? Wang Kai frowned and snorted with disdain. Whoosh! The moment these words were spoken, the expressions of many outer court elders changed drastically. You defeated all of them by yourself? Elder Lu's eyes narrowed as he stared at Wang Kai in astonishment. That's right. It's a pity that they didn't keep their word. They didn't give any merit points even if they lost. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually. Bastard! How could there be such a despicable thing? Elder Lu frowned and swept his cold gaze across the outer sect elders. He hollered in a deep voice, Hurry up and give him all your merit points. The moment these words were spoken, the faces of many outer court elders turned bitter. However, the orders of the first seat elder of the inner sect could not be disobeyed. He could only resign himself to his fate and hand over all his merit point. You should rejoice. If you don't hand it over, I will definitely cripple you. For a gentleman like me who keeps his word, what I hate the most is trash who doesn't keep his word. Wang Kai said with a look of disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Host, Wang Kai class, Mechanic Realm, Zenith King Divine Technique, Undying and Indestructible Dominator Level Divine Skill, Strengthened Dominator Level Divine Weapon, Sky Piercer Dominator Level The Power of God, Zenith King God's Eye, Torch Dragon's Eye Energy, 9 210 bragging points, 300 experience, 60001000004 more bragging points, and he would reach the indestructible realm. Wang Kai casually glanced at it. Then, he activated his mind and closed it. Are you in the King Yu realm? Elder Lu of the inner sect narrowed his eyes and stroked his beard as he asked expectantly. To be able to defeat hundreds of outer court elders who were in the King Yu realm alone, it was absolutely impossible if one was not in the King Yu realm. Even those who were at the peak of the King Yu realm could not do it. That's right. I just broke through not long ago because of their anger. Wang Kai frowned and said rather casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Whoosh! When he said this, not only was Elder Lu stunned, but the outer court elders who had been beaten up were also extremely astonished. Broke through because of anger? Could one break through because of anger? This was simply unheard of and unseen. How old are you? Your real age? Elder Lu narrowed his eyes and asked tentatively. From the way Wang Kai intentionally revealed his bones, he should only be 19 years old. However, Elder Lu knew very well that many geniuses could hide their real age with the help of treasures or secret technique. It was very difficult to pry into their real age. 19. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually. Hiss hiss. Hearing this, Elder Lu took a deep breath and looked at Wang Kai as if he had found a treasure. He chuckled and said, May I know who your master is? Master? No, I cultivated blindly on my own. My cultivation base broke through unknowingly. I don't know any skills and have always relied on brute force to fight. Wang Kai frowned and replied with a serious expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Good. Good, good, good. Very good. Very good. Elder Lu nodded repeatedly and praised. Then, he swept his gaze across the outer court elders and said calmly, From now on, he is an inner court disciple. You can all disperse. Yes, Elder Lu. Many outer court elders looked at each other, feeling speechless. The fat meat at the edge of their mouths flew away just like that. Elder Lu had taken advantage of them. If they had known earlier, they would have learned from Elder Lu from the start and flattered Wang Kai to chat. Don't be like that. I don't want to go to the inner court. I'll stay in the outer court and prepare to lead many outer court juniors to teach the inner court disciples a lesson. Wang Kai waved his hand and said rather casually. Hearing this, Elder Lu was stunned and looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. Everyone else dreamed of climbing to greater heights, yet he was willing to stay in such a weak place? And he even threatened to lead the outer court juniors to teach the inner court disciples and personal disciples a lesson? Fine, then I'll come to the outer court to be an elder. If you have any problems in the future, just look for me. Elder Lu said with a smile. Just look for you if I have any problems? Hearing this, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly. He nodded playfully and said, Okay, no problem. Wait here for a moment. I'll go to the elder's courtyard. Elder Lu chuckled and left with his hands behind his back proudly. He's definitely going to receive his reward. Yes, I think so too. Chao Nima and Chu Dadi looked at each other and rolled their eyes. It doesn't matter. If you have any problems, just look for him. Let's go to the proud battle stage. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and stood up slowly. He said flatly, You two lead the way. If anyone dares to act tough and blocks our way, just scold him. If not, I'll teach him a lesson. Okay. Naturally, the two of them agreed happily. How could they not agree to such a wonderful opportunity to act tough? One should know that when they were guarding the mountain gate, they had been looked down upon by many disciples. Chapter 1277. Proud Battle Stage. The sparring ground of the 5 Xian Dao sect. Regardless of whether it was an elder or a disciple, everyone would come here to spar. Not only would they increase their cultivation and battle experience, they would also be rewarded with merit points. If the stakes were high, the amount of merit points they would receive would be terrifying. Wang Kai, who had followed Chao Nima to the proud battle stage, looked at the square battle stage in front of him. It was so big that it could accommodate thousands of people. At that moment, there were many elders and disciples standing around it. They were watching the battle between the two disciples on the stage. There were more than 10,000 people surrounding the proud battle stage. It was extremely lively. Get out of the way. Don't you see that our young Master Kai is here? That's right. If you don't want to die, get out of the way. Chao and Ma and Chu Ta-di raised their heads proudly and scolded loudly. Their actions immediately attracted the attention of many disciples and elders. They frowned and looked at them. When they saw that the two people who had come were the disciples guarding the mountain gate, they were instantly enraged. How dare you? Bastards! Why didn't you guard the mountain gate at the foot of the mountain? Why did you come up to the proud battle stage? Do you want to die? Get out of the way. In an instant, many elders and disciples were reprimanding them. Young Master Kai asked us to get out of the way. Chao Nima furrowed his brows, turned around and said respectfully, "Go and give him a slap." Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, "Alright, I'll go." Chao Nima was stunned for a moment before he mustered up his courage. He gritted his teeth and dashed forward. Facing one of the disciples, he waved his hand and slapped him viciously. "Your King courting death." Slap. Suddenly, when the disciple wanted to counter the slap, he realized that he could not move his body. He could only watch as the slap landed on his face. The burning pain caused the veins on his forehead to bulge. "CKU. Who are you talking to?" Slap. When Chao Nima saw that his attack was successful, he instantly became excited. He waved his arm and slapped down fiercely. Beside him, Chu Tadi was also excited when he saw this. Together with Chao Nima, they attacked the disciple until he was dizzy. If Wang Kai had not used his power to suppress him, he would have fallen to the ground and would not be able to get up. When did these two disciples guarding the mountain gate become so strong? Even inner court disciples at the Eternity King realm aren't their match? No wonder they are so strong. They are here to pick a fight. CK. So what? The price of showing off isn't something you can afford. Many disciples snorted in disdain. Most of them were inner sect disciples. Under the encirclement, thousands of people directed their cold gazes towards Chao Inama and Chu Tadi. As for the other personal disciples and elders, they merely looked over with indifference, not making a move at all. In their opinion, no matter if it was the inner or outer disciples, they were all weak and pitiful, not worthy of their attention. "Young Master Kai, they want to gang up on us." Chao Nima swallowed his saliva and said dryly, "Young Master Kai, what should we do? Do we still want to fight?" Chu Tadi was trembling. Facing so many inner disciples, it would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. "My name is Wang Kai, I'm a new ordinary disciple. If you don't agree, you can come to the proud battle stage and have a fight with me. However, you have to pay all of your merit points. Take out as many merit points as you have." Buzz. Wang Kai jumped and landed on the proud battle platform. "Bastard! Can't you see that we are fighting? Get down, scum!" Bang! Before the two disciples on the platform could finish their words, they were thrown off the platform by Wang Kai. They vomited blood and flew off the platform. Everyone's expression changed slightly when they saw this scene. The two disciples who were fighting were experts in the inner disciple sect. They were both disciples of the Eternal King realm. Moreover, they were not ordinary Eternal Kings that could withstand them. But even so, they were still slapped off the stage by Wang Kai. Could it be that this young man was at the Qingyu realm? Did you see that? He is our boss. That's right. If anyone is not convinced, then get up there and fight. I'm afraid that you won't dare. Chao Nima and Chu Tadi laughed out proudly. Let me say this first. My battle strength is very strong. With a wave of my hand, I can destroy the 7 great universes. With a smile, I can even charm the daughter of the sect master and the so-called eldest senior sister of the 5 profound Tao sect. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Impudent! In an instant, everyone present, whether it was the inner court or direct disciples, even the inner court elders and direct elders, all began to reprimand him. The daughter of the sect master, the eldest senior sister of the 5 profound Tao sect. Both of them were the strongest existences in the 5 Xian Tao sect. They were existences that could not be bullied. But now, they were being bragged about and looked down on by a brat? What? What are you guys shouting for? If you're not convinced, then get up here and fight. Won't that be over? Wang Kai frowned and snorted disdainfully. Whoosh! Let me. Suddenly, a young man stood up. He was wearing a green robe and holding a green sword in his hand. His gaze was like a knife as he stared at Wang Kai. Direct disciple Zhang. Senior Zhang Feng. Kill him. Senior Zhang is at the Qingyu realm. Moreover, he will soon reach the peak of the Qingyu realm. Isn't it easy to kill a hothead? Hearing the words of the crowd, Wang Kai couldn't help but curl his lips. He had thought that the one who came up would be a direct elder. If that was the case, he would be able to win a lot of merit points. Unfortunately, it was only a direct disciple, and a direct disciple at the Qingyu realm. How many merit points do you have? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked impatiently as he waved his hand. 3 million. I'll take them all out and fight with you. I wonder if you dare to accept. Zhang Feng sneered and took out his direct disciple token with a flip of his hand. He threw it in front of Wang Kai and it quietly floated in midair. The merit points displayed on it were exactly 3 million. Hiss hiss, seeing this scene, Wang Kai couldn't help but take a deep breath. He secretly thought that a direct disciple was indeed a direct disciple. He had several times more merit points than all the outer court elders combined. Okay, then I'll take out my merit points as well. You don't have to take them out. How much can an outer court disciple like you have? You'd better take out your life as a bet. Before Wang Kai could finish speaking, Zhang Feng interrupted him with a sneer. His expression was extremely disdainful. Then why don't you take out your life as a bet as well? Otherwise, wouldn't I be at a disadvantage? Wang Kai frowned, spread out his hands, and said casually. Chapter 1278. Alright. I'll fight you with my life. What's wrong with that? Zhang Feng sneered in disdain. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his sword and attacked Wang Kai. Wang Kai pretended to be frightened and kept retreating. He did not counterattack throughout the whole process. He was just dodging. Moreover, every time he dodged it was thrilling. It made people think that Wang Kai could not dodge in time and be killed by Zhang Feng's sword. I thought he was very powerful. After all this time, he's just a hothead bluffing. At this rate, it won't take long for senior brother Zhang Feng to kill this person. That's right. After killing him, the two of you better not run away. In an instant, everyone parted their mouths and laughed coldly. Numerous pairs of icy cold gazes landed on Chao Nima and Chu Dadi. Chao Nima and Chu Dadi took a few steps back. In an instant, they were so scared that their faces turned pale. They thought that Wang Kai was awesome. But now, how was he awesome? It was obvious that he was being suppressed. Once Wang Kai was defeated and killed by Zhang Feng, the two of them would not be able to survive. Do you only know how to dodge? Trash. Zhang Feng swung his sword and slashed repeatedly, but Wang Kai dodged each and every time. Such a situation made him even angrier. He did not feel that he was about to win. Instead, he felt that he was being played by Wang Kai. Others might not be able to tell, but Zhang Feng, who was involved, naturally felt that it was real. I'm learning your martial skill. What's this martial skill called? It's not bad. Wang Kai tapped his feet and his body was like a phantom. He easily dodged the attacks. You're learning sword skills? Hearing this, Zhang Feng was furious. He gritted his teeth and laughed. Let's see how long you can be proud of yourself. I'll use all my strength to kill you now. Who are you going to kill? This sword is so weak. Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. With a wave of his hand, he shattered Zhang Feng's sword into pieces. Whoosh, whoosh. Even Zhang Feng's figure was pushed back dozens of steps. The people who were laughing at Wang Kai suddenly stopped laughing. They all looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. Who would have thought that he, who had been dodging all this while, would be able to break Zhang Feng's longsword with a single palm strike? Furthermore, even Zhang Feng was sent flying by the powerful force. Is that all you've got? Wang Kai frowned and spread out his hands, pretending to be disappointed. Seeing this scene, Zhang Feng's eyes almost split open. Die. 1. Zhang Feng's body flickered continuously as he poured all of his strength into his fists. With a powerful swing, his strength immediately transformed into a long sword. He could clearly see a huge sword slashing down from the sky. It looks pretty good. Unfortunately, it's just a look. Wang Kai looked up and casually waved his hand. Crack. 1. With a cracking sound, the giant sword shattered, turning into fragments of energy that scattered in all directions. At the same time, Zhang Feng knelt on the ground with a pale face. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth uncontrollably. That blow just now had used up all of his strength. Now, he had lost all of his combat strength. He did not even have the strength to stand up. You've really disappointed me. I thought you had some skills, but in the end, you're still so weak and pitiful. Wang Kai shrugged, shook his head and sighed again and again. Now, your merit points belong to me. Your life is also mine. Wang Kai flipped his hand and took out his disciple token. With a pull, the densely packed numbers on Zhang Feng's personal disciple token merged into his own token. 3 million merit points were all in his hands. Stop it! Whoosh! An old man flipped onto the stage and looked at Wang Kai indifferently. He said in a deep voice, "Since the outcome has been decided and you've obtained your merit points, don't push your luck. Let's end it here." Master. Cough cough. Zhang Feng's face was as pale as paper. He raised his hand and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. You're his master? Damn, the little one can't beat him, so the big one came to find trouble? Let's end it here? Through your big wave. If I lose, can you come up and say let's end it here? Wang Kai looked at him with disdain. With a flip of his hand, he sent out a sharp energy blade that pierced towards the immobile Zhang Feng. I said, let's end it here. Crack. The old man waved his hand and instantly shattered the sharp blades of energy. Omnipotent King Realm? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. What he used just now was the combat power of King Yu Realm, but it was broken by the old man with a wave of his hand. This proved that the old man was at least in the Omnipotent King Realm, and most likely at the peak of the Omnipotent King Realm. Wang Kai's true realm was only in the Omnipotent King Realm. If he wanted to use a stronger combat power, he would have to transform into a mechanic and use an enhanced skill. However, that would expose his true combat power. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Mechanic Realm, Omnipotent King Divine Technique, Immortal and Indestructible Dominator Level Divine Skill, Enhanced Dominator Level Divine Weapon, Sky Halberd Dominator Level The Power of God, Omnipotent God God's Eyes, Torch Dragon's Eyes Energy. 9, 5, 10 Bragging Points. 3, 600 Experience. 900010000. Inch you're still short of 1,000? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and couldn't help but smile. With his hands behind his back, he said disdainfully, "You're just a piece of trash from the Omnipotent King Realm. Why are you showing off? Do you think you can save him? Don't you know that I'm one of the 7 masters of the universe?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy value. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching the indestructible realm. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Mechanic Realm, Indestructible Divine Technique, Immortal and Indestructible Dominator Level Divine Skill, Enhanced Dominator Level Divine Weapon, Sky Halberd Dominator Level The Power of God, Omnipotent God Divine Eye, Torch Dragon's Eye Energy. 9, 6, 10 Bragging Points. 3, 700 Experience. 020000. Wang Kaisen was overjoyed when he heard the notification. After all, there were only 40 or so imperishable realm experts in the first district. Now, relying on his true realm, he could be ranked as the number 1 person below the Supreme Being. My experience points have increased to 20,000. Looks like I still need to brag 20 times to reach the Supreme Being realm. Wang Kai grinned and urged his mind to close the system page. Humph, ignorant! The elder snorted disdainfully and rolled up Zhang Feng, who couldn't move. He waved his sleeves and was about to walk down the proud battle platform. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai's eyes immediately narrowed as he coldly laughed. Did I say that I would let him live? Do you want to die by taking him down like this? Chapter 1279. In the outer sect, after being summoned by Chao Nima and Chu Tata, tens of thousands of outer sect disciples were waiting at the huge training field. Due to the fact that Wang Kai had dominated the proud battle stage, the outer sect disciples were not impatient. Instead, they were excited and looked at Wang Kai with anticipation. However, Wang Kai could not help but feel helpless as he looked at the crowd of outer disciples. Did he have to use his power to help them increase their cultivation? If he did not do so, the merit points alone would not be enough to support the cultivation of tens of thousands of outer sect disciples. Help tens of thousands of people increase their cultivation. Wang Kai rubbed his nose. After pondering for a while, he said in an indifferent voice, I only need 1,000 people now. I can help these 1,000 people raise their cultivation base. The remaining disciples will follow behind and obtain all the resources they obtain. Pick me. Me. In an instant, many of the outer court disciples began to yell out loudly. Although they did not know how Wang Kai would help them increase their cultivation, they could at least try. What if they could increase their cultivation? Wouldn't it be great to not need to cultivate? Silence, silence. Black lines appeared on Wang Kai's forehead. He was rather speechless as he waved his hand. Soon after, he said in an indifferent voice, From now on, each of you will start bragging. If your bragging satisfies me, feel free to open your mouth. There is no harm in opening your mouth at the same time. I will naturally choose one. Brag? Brag? Each of you brag about something. As long as young Master Wang is satisfied? In an instant, many outer sect disciples were stunned. They stared at Wang Kai in disbelief. They did not expect such a choice. I am the strongest in the world. No, the strongest in the world is too boring. You are not qualified. Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually. This kind of simple bragging was not within his consideration at all. I am the strongest in the universe. The strongest, my ass. You are always the strongest. Next, Wang Kai's face darkened and he waved his hand impatiently. A single hair from a certain part of my body can crush the heavens. Not bad, not bad. You're not bad at all. Come, you've been chosen. As Wang Kai happily nodded his head in appreciation, everyone was stunned in place. What was going on? What the hell? Was there anyone who could brag like this? I've poked the butt of a female supreme martial artist before. That's right. Come on. I've licked 10,000 women. Ha ha ha, interesting. Come. In an instant, after grasping the trick, everyone opened their mouths to brag. Among them, there were even many female disciples who used their bodies to brag. Wang Kai laughed heartily when he heard this. He was extremely happy. In the end, all 1,000 people made their choices. There were more than 300 women. You guys can follow behind. There will be cultivation resources for you to use. Wang Kai shrugged. With a flip of his hand, he swept the 1,000 people into the space. I'll raise all of you to King Yu's realm. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. As he spoke, he had already raised the cultivation level of the 1,000 people to King Yu's realm. At the same time, he used another 100 bragging points to recover his battle strength. This, unbelievable! When the 1,000 outer court disciples who had been raised to King Yu's realm sensed the power in their bodies, they were all dumbfounded. They looked at each other and were unable to regain their senses for a long time. They had never imagined that the raising of cultivation level that Wang Kai had mentioned was actually so simple and easy. That's really awesome. Chow Nima and Chu Toddy looked at each other. The power in their bodies was simply terrifying. They had never felt anything like this before. It was only now that they realized how awesome Wang Kai was. He was able to easily raise someone's cultivation level, and it was even to King Yu's realm. Such a shocking feat was probably something that even a Supreme Being expert could not do, right? Could it be that Wang Kai was an expert that surpassed the Supreme Being of the Seven Great Sects? All of you are now at the pinnacle of the King Yu realm. Heed my orders. Quickly head to the inner sanctum and seize all the merit points, skills, and weapons of the inner sanctum disciples and inner sanctum elders. There's no need to give them any face. If they don't accept it, just beat them up. Yeah, some of King Yu's realm direct disciples will also want to snatch. If they don't accept it, then beat them up. If you can't beat them, then don't provoke them. Just run back here. If you can't run back, then die outside. If you know how to brag, then you need to have a cunning brain. As Wang Kai's voice fell, the crowd was swept out of the space. They were so excited that they naturally agreed without hesitation. Actually, even if Wang Kai did not say anything, they would still go to the inner court to brag, even to the direct disciples. Just follow them to create momentum. With tens of thousands of disciples, even the elders would not dare to kill all of you. If anyone threatens you, then tell them my name, Wang Kai, and ask them to come to the outer court to find me. Wang Kai waved his hand. After he finished speaking, he returned to his room, drank some tea, and rested. Chow Nima and Chu Dadi, on the other hand, were carefully waiting on him. Young Master Kai, since you're so awesome, you should capture the eldest senior sister or the sect master's daughter, hee. Not bad, not bad. How great would it be to have them serve you? Hearing the words of the two, Wang Kai frowned. After thinking for a while, he nodded and said, "What you guys said makes sense, but there's no hurry. They'll come to see me soon. After all, I'm so awesome." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Host: Wang Kai. Profession: Mechanic Realm, Undying Divine Technique, Undying and Indestructible Overlord Level Divine Skill, Strengthen Overlord Level Divine Weapon, Heavenly Halberd Overlord Level The Power of God, Full God Divine Eye, Torch Dragon's Eye Energy, 9710 bragging points, 3700 experience, 100020000, 20,000 experience to reach the Sovereign Realm. Wang Kai casually glanced at it, curled his lips, and activated his will to close it. Will they come? Chow Nima was astonished. Chu Dadi also had a look of disbelief. Even if those outer court disciples had their cultivation realms raised, they would definitely not dare to provoke them. Especially that eldest senior sister of the Tao sect. She was a true king. Although the sovereign's daughter was a little weak and was only at the King Yu realm, her father was awesome. Who would dare to provoke him? How about this, the two of you split up and look for them. Just say that you're their husbands and ask them to come over. Actually, to tell you the truth, I've known them for a long time. Moreover, we've already spent the night together dozens of times. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point." Chapter 1280. F***CK. Are you serious? I'm confused. Chow Nima and Chu Tutai looked at each other and were stunned. Of course it's true. Think about it. Why would such a powerful person like me come to the 5 Xian Dao sect? You still want to be an outer sect disciple, right? Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. Didn't you come here to act tough? Yeah, you've been acting tough. The two of them were stunned and replied subconsciously. However, when he saw Wang Kai's face darken, he was so frightened that he immediately changed his words. Ahem, So young Master Kai and the sect leader's daughter have feelings for each other. That's amazing! Even the great senior sister of the Dao sect was bedded by young Master Kai. That's awesome! Hearing their words, Wang Kaifeng nodded his head in satisfaction and said faintly, "You guys can go. But they want to kill us. What should we do?" "Yeah, with the strength of King Yu realm, we can only escape from the sect leader's daughter. We can't survive the great senior sister of the Dao sect," Chao Nima and Chu Tatai said with lingering fear. "Don't worry. Just tell the great senior sister that this is my order. If she's not happy about it, she can come and settle the score with me." Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually, Okay. In desperation, the two of them looked at each other and left with pale faces. "I wonder how Niu Zhetian and Lord Cat are doing?" Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled playfully. At the same time, in the Sky Bone Dao sect, Niu Zhetian had already become a very powerful person in the Taoist societies. However, in the end, his identity was only that of a mount. He was the sect leader's daughter's mount. An utmost exalted had personally taken action and forced him to become a mount. Niu Zhetian was furious. Unfortunately, he couldn't defeat a supreme cultivator. He couldn't even defeat an undead cultivator. Niu Zhetian, who was in the King Yu realm, could only swallow his hatred and endure. "Niu Zhetian, what are you doing? Run." "That's right. What's going on with the gathering of disciples and the fight with Wang Kai of the Five Profound Dao sect? Did he bully you?" A 15 or 16-year-old girl was riding on Zhetian's back, chattering non-stop. Her appearance was like a porcelain doll. It had to be said that she was also a young beauty. "Yes, he bullied me. My previous master forced me to become his mount, just like your father," said Niu Zhetian. "Ha ha ha, you should give up on your enmity towards my father. My father is a grand utmost exalted. He's much stronger than your previous master. You won't be able to take revenge in the future. However, I can help you take revenge now." The little girl covered her face and giggled. She was smart enough to know that Niu Zhetian was hostile to her father. "Humph, that's good." Niu Zhetian snorted disdainfully. He thought that when he saw Wang Kai, he would improve his cultivation and come back to teach Tian Gu a lesson. "That big stupid cat won't have a good ending, right? Damn it, I should have turned into a human and come here," Niu Zhetian said resentfully. On the other side, in the Heaven and Earth Dao sect, Cat Lord transformed into a refined, courteous, and handsome young man. Due to the strength of the illusion, even the utmost exalted could not see his true appearance. Moreover, Lord Cat, who was only 16 or 17 years old, was in the King realm. With such talent, he immediately won the praise of the utmost exalted of the Heaven and Earth Dao sect. It could be said that he had become the strongest disciple of the Heaven and Earth Dao sect. In a short time, there were countless followers. Even among Lord Cat's followers, there were many elders of the King realm. Even the imperishable realm guardians were secretly protecting him. There were 5 or 6 of them. It seems that this time Lord Cat will win. No matter how cunning Wang Kai is, he will lose, right? As for Niu Zhetian, he is a big stupid cow. I guess he will become someone's mount. I asked him to transform, but he refused to do so. Cat Lord placed his hands behind his back and smiled indifferently. "Wow, junior brother is smiling. So charming, so handsome." Behind him, countless female disciples looked at Lord Cat from afar. For a moment, it could be said that they admired and respected Lord Cat. In the 5 Xian Dao sect, Wang Kai, who was sitting in the room with his legs crossed, used the system to check the situation of Lord Cat and Niu Zhetian. Suddenly, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Niu Zhetian was miserable, but Lord Cat was doing well. Moreover, they already had imperishable realm protectors protecting them in the dark. There were even more elders in the entire King realm who followed him. Damn it! With just 1,000 outer court disciples at King Yu's realm, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to defeat them. Even if the old bull has become their mount, the little girl riding him is the daughter of a supreme being. If she calls for them, won't all the experts, including even the supreme being, have to show up? Wang Kai's face darkened. He was speechless for a moment. Host, Wang Kai occupation, mechanic realm, imperishable divine technique, immortal and imperishable overlord divine skill, strengthen overlord level divine weapon, heavenly halberd overlord level, the power of God, full spirit divine eyes, torch dragon eyes energy, 9 710 bragging points, 3 700 experience, 1000200000. It seems that I have to use my mechanic form and enhance my realm to surpass the supreme being level. Then, I will have to raise another 100 imperishable realm experts. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. There were only 40 or so imperishable realm experts in the first district. If he could create 100 imperishable realm experts, in addition to his battle strength surpassing the supreme being level, he would be able to defy the natural order and become the strongest. Luckily, I checked their situation beforehand. Otherwise, how embarrassing would that be? Wang Kai grinned and closed the system page with his mind. With his bragging points, he could raise 100 imperishable realm experts and make up for the lost battle strength. Not good, young Master Wang. Young Master Wang, Chow Nima. Get lost. Call him Little Chow. Before the shouting could finish, Wang Kai spat out a mouthful of tea on the floor and interrupted loudly with a darkened face. Ahem, Little Chow was detained by Senior Sister Yun Yen. I heard that his life is in danger. Senior Sister Yun said that if you don't personally apologize, she will kill him. What should we do? Young Master Wang? A few outer disciples ran into the room in a panic. Regarding this, Wang Kai was extremely speechless. How long had it been? How could he be detained in such a short time? This Chow Nima's ability to do things is too poor. Chapter 1281. Cloud Tower. 5 Xian Dao Sect, Senior Sister Yun Yan's cultivation place. It was located at the back of the 5 Xian Mountain and was extremely quiet. Apart from Yun Yan, no one dared to disturb her. However, due to Wang Kai's orders, Chow Nima stepped into the forbidden area and successfully angered Yun Yan. Is this where Yun Yan is? Under the guidance of a few disciples, Wang Lai arrived at the back of the mountain and looked at a pavilion in front of him. It was shrouded in mist and a light veil fluttered in the wind. The fragrance was intoxicating. Yes, we won't go in. Young Master Wang, you go in yourself. We're leaving. Young Master Wang, I wish you success. The disciples leading the way did not have the guts to step into the pavilion and immediately turned around and ran away. That terrified look really made Wang Kai speechless to the extreme. With Ben Shao around, what are you afraid of? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and casually walked with his hands behind his back. He gradually approached the pavilion in the distance. Young Master Kai, come save me. Stop hitting me, I was wrong, okay? Before he even got close to the pavilion, Chow Nima's cries for mercy could be heard from afar. His voice was extremely shocking, as if a pig was being slaughtered. You should know how to apologize, right? When Wang Kai lifted the veil and stepped into the pavilion, he was stunned. A cold voice slowly entered his ears. Looking over, he saw Chow Nima hanging upside down in midair. Below him, there was a demon monkey who was holding a stick and whipping Chow Nima continuously. Every time he was whipped, Chow Nima would scream out in pain and vomit blood continuously. However, it did not take his life. It was a life worse than death, and it was extremely miserable. I can't believe that the great senior sister of the 5 Xian Dao sect is a monkey. Damn it, I almost blinded Ben Shao. Wang Kai's face darkened and black lines appeared on his forehead. He was speechless for a moment. How dare you? That's the demon king in the back mountain, not me. Suddenly, the cold voice was heard once again. The tone was filled with coldness. I'm here on eldest senior sister's orders to take care of this foolish outer sect disciple. If you want to save him, you'll have to think of a way yourself. The demon monkey let out a pleasant female voice. You're not Yun Yen? Wang Kai furrowed his brows as he sent out his divine sense to investigate. Only then did he discover that Yun Yen was currently resting on the second floor. Her appearance was peerless, her figure was graceful, and she had a head full of long, snow-white hair. Most importantly, Yun Yen was completely naked at the moment. Furthermore, bursts of chilliness were emitted from her body. They turned into streams of air and disappeared. Wang Kai swallowed his saliva as he looked at her body. Due to the system's concealment, Yun Yen did not notice Wang Kai's prying and continued to cultivate with her eyes closed. It's really big, it's really big. F***ck. Wang Kai rubbed his nose and tried his best to remain calm. Put him down, I'm willing to repay you with my body. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and purposely acted as if he had suffered a great loss. Not only was the demon monkey stunned upon hearing this, even Chao Nima, who was still crying out in pain, was startled. They never thought that Wang Kai's so-called apology would be to repay her with his body? What the F***ck are they doing here to save people? Or to kill her? Would the eldest senior sister of the 5 Xian Dao sect care if Wang Kai was willing to repay her with his body? Wasn't he forcing her to kill him? Young Master Kai, please stop fooling around. If you keep fooling around, I'm going to lose my life. Chao Nima continued to yell. However, regardless of whether it was the demon monkey, Chao Nima, or even Wang Kai, who had retracted his mind, none of them knew that Yun Yen, who was on the second floor, had already opened her eyes in anger and spat out a mouthful of blood onto the ground. She also did not expect Wang Kai to be so shameless and hateful. Kill him. Yun Yen coldly said. Okay. The demon monkey immediately obeyed and waved his rod, smashing it towards Chao Nima's head. The force of the blow was so strong that it was aimed at a vital point. Can't I repay you with my body? Don't tell me you still want my heart? Aren't you too evil? Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai arrived beside the demon monkey. With a flip of his hand, the demon monkey's eyes rolled back and he fainted on the spot. Little demon monkey, your cultivation level is not bad. King Yu's peak. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. With a flip of his hand, he placed Chao Nima down and said, You can go back first. I want to talk to Yun Yen alone. Okay. Without any hesitation, Chao Nima repeatedly nodded his head. Enduring the intense pain in his body, he madly ran away without looking back. Even with the presence of the Dao Gate's senior sister, Chao Nima would not be willing to come to such a place. You've got guts. Whoosh. Yun Yen was wearing a white dress. With her snow-white hair draped over her shoulders, she slowly walked down from the second floor with her hands behind her back. Her long dress dragged on the ground, accentuating her slender figure and making her even more enchanting. Your eyes, Wang Kai furrowed his brows and looked at her in shock. Her eyes were frighteningly white. They did not look like the eyes of a normal person. Furthermore, the way she looked at people was as if she was blind. I lost my eyes when I was 3 years old. My eyes were formed by ice and I cannot see anything. Yun Yen said coldly as she walked in front of Wang Kai. Facing him, she said coldly, I will not let you live. You lost your eyes when you were 3 years old. That means you have been using your spiritual will to observe things? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and looked at her in shock. He did not care about whether she would let him live or not. Although the Dao Gate's senior sister was strong, she was only in the Immortal King realm. There was nothing to be afraid of. Yes. Do you have any last words? Yun Yen gently nodded her head. With a flip of her slender hand, a long sword formed by ice appeared in her hand. Waves of cold air flowed around the ice sword. It was bone-chilling. To tell you the truth, I lost the love of my life when I was 3 years old, so I've always had a bad habit. Whenever I meet a beautiful woman, I'll think that she's my wife. After being intimidated by your cold aura, I've come to my senses. Sorry for the offense just now. Are these your last words? Before Wang Kai could finish, Yun Yen coldly interrupted. Lost his love when he was 3 years old? Developed a bad habit because of that? Who would believe such a blatant lie? Ahem, you misunderstand. I am actually from a special race. In our race, 3 years old is equivalent to 300 years old. What I said is the truth. If what I said is false, then punish me by making me your husband. Wang Kai spread out his hands and said helplessly. Chapter 1282. Pervert. Buzz. Yun Yanqing snorted coldly as she brandished her ice sword and slashed towards Wang Kai. Her aura of the immortal king's stage swept out. She wanted to use her aura to suppress Wang Kai and then take Wang Kai's life with her ice sword. She did not want to exchange another blow with Wang Kai. It's a good sword, but it doesn't have a scabbard. Just like you don't have me to love and protect you. Isn't that sad? Clang. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and raised his hand. With a finger, he blocked the ice sword. No matter how hard Yun Yen tried, she could not make the sword move an inch further. This made Yun Yen frown. She pulled back her sword and took a few steps back. Who are you? There shouldn't be any imperishable stage cultivator as young as you in the first district. Yun Yan's brows furrowed even tighter as she gripped the frost sword tightly. Her heart was on high alert. She knew that she was no match for this young man. Wrong. It's not that there isn't one, but there is only one, and that is me. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and smiled indifferently. Who are you? Why did you send someone to provoke me? Do you have a grudge against me? Yun Yen frowned and her expression turned even colder. She couldn't imagine why such a talented young man would want to provoke her. And why was he so hateful? Did he not have the demeanor of an expert? My name is Wang Kai, and I come from the distant future. Yun Yen, you might not believe me, but I was actually your future lover. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to protect you, and in the end, you were killed by evil people. At this point, Wang Kai's face was covered in tears. Those tears were very real. His sorrowful expression seemed to contain endless anger and longing. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Seeing this, Yun Yen immediately retreated, her delicate body trembling slightly. For a moment she fell silent. With this young man's cultivation level, he could not pretend to be so sad. Even if she was pretending to be sad to deceive him, there was no need to shed tears, right? Moreover, that genuine sadness had infected Yun Yen, and she subconsciously began to believe him. F***ck, in order to pick up girls, I'm going all out. Wang Kai was completely speechless. Soon after, he turned around and wiped away his tears. With his hands behind his back, he solemnly said, Yun Yen, you can choose not to believe me, but please allow me to stay here with you. Even if I have to look at you from afar, it's fine. Just like us in the future, peaceful and blissful. Whoosh, whoosh. As these words left his mouth, Yun Yen stumbled back several steps, until she crashed into the table. How can I trust you? Yun Yen asked coldly. When you cultivate, you always like to be naked. Shut up. Before Wang Kai could finish, Yun Yen angrily interrupted him. For a moment, his heart became more and more frightened. No one knew about the matter of his cultivation. Even his own master didn't know about his cultivation habit. However, this young man who claimed to have never been here knew. Why should I shut up? In the future, we were already married, and you were even pregnant. Unfortunately, before our child was born, you were already… Crack, crack. At this point, Wang Kai's face was filled with anger, the veins on his forehead bulging. His furious appearance seemed to tear apart the heavens and shatter the heavens. It could be said that his anger had seeped into his bones, and his hatred had seeped into his bones. Until now, Yun Yen was completely dumbfounded, and she had fallen into a state of complete confusion. When he was sad, Yun Yen was affected by his sadness. When he was angry, it was so real and terrifying. It didn't seem like an act at all. Furthermore, he knew about her cultivation habits. No, then why didn't you know about my eyes just now? You must be lying. Of course I don't know. Whoosh. Before Yun Yen could finish speaking, Wang Kai directly interrupted her. In the future we loved each other, but you didn't want to talk about your eyes. I was even more afraid of making you sad, so I didn't ask. If I hadn't come to the past, I still wouldn't have known about your eyes. There must be a special reason for your eyes to disappear, right? Wang Kai's expression was incomparably serious as he turned around and stared at her as he asked in a low voice. Yun Yen was stunned. Indeed, other than herself, no one knew why her eyes had disappeared. As for the exact reason, she had never been willing to mention it, and would never tell anyone. If you still don't believe me, then I'll tell you a secret that will make you believe. Wang Kai looked at her affectionately and then said softly, on the inside of your leg, there is a pink spiritual flower mark. Shut up. Yun Yen was instantly infuriated, and she shouted in a coquettish voice. She waved her hand and threw the ice sword at Wang Kai. However, Wang Kai didn't dodge at all, as if he was looking for death. Yun Yen didn't know why, but this situation shocked her. She hurriedly used her ice sword and shattered it into pieces. Do you believe me now? Wang Kai looked at her affectionately. We really got married in the future? And I'm pregnant? Yun Yen pursed her red lips and asked softly. He even knew about the marks on her private parts. He even knew about her cultivation habit. Yun Yen was already 70% convinced. Even as a woman, Yun Yen had never let anyone see her body. She had always liked to be alone and didn't interact with anyone, regardless of gender. Yes, I only remember these few things. Traveling to the future and returning to the past, I wasted a lot of my cultivation, and my memories are basically all gone. However, the memories that made you believe in me and let me accompany you have never disappeared, Wang Kai said affectionately. Not only did he cut off Yun Yan's chance to ask questions, he also expressed his love for her. Wang Kai was secretly very satisfied with this, and couldn't help but praise himself for being too damn smart. Remember, it's not a good thing. Yun Yan pursed her red lips, and her face turned slightly red. However, she had to admit that these were the only things that could earn her trust. After all, these were secrets that no one else knew about. But these are the only things that can make you believe in me, right? Wang Kai looked at her affectionately. As he spoke, he had already stepped forward and reached out to touch her. However, before it could touch her, she had already dodged it. I still can't completely trust you, but I can allow you to stay here until I believe in you. I hope you're not lying to me. Yun Yan pursed her red lips, turned around and walked up to the second floor. Chapter 1283. Looks like I still need some seasoning before I can make her mine. Wang Kai smiled as he rubbed his nose. He then communicated with the system, give me a guqin. Oh, and let me learn the best guqin skills. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 9 heavenly guqin. 100 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for becoming the guqin saint musical god. 100 bragging points have been consumed. Host, Wang Kai profession, mechanic realm, undying divine technique, undying, dominator level divine skill, enhanced dominator level divine weapon, heavenly halberd, dominator level the power of God, full spirit divine eye, torch dragon's eye energy. 9, 710 bragging points. 3, 500 experience. 100020000. Wang Kai casually glanced at it. Then, He activated his mind and closed it. Then, he took out a rainbow-colored wooden zither and sat cross-legged in the air. With the additional knowledge of zither skills in his mind, he slowly raised his hand and plucked the strings. Virum. When the celestial music was heard, even Wang Kai himself felt goosebumps rising all over his body. He had to admit that the system was too convenient. You know how to play the guqin? On the second floor, Yun Yan frowned as she heard the music. She walked up the stairs in surprise and used her spiritual sense to observe Wang Kai. When you and I first met, it was because of my music that attracted you. This song is called Heartbreak. It was created when I lost the love of my life. Wang Kai nodded softly. He then closed his eyes and pretended to be sad as he plucked the strings of the zither. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, 1 energy point. Lost your true love. Do you still have true love? Yun Yan pursed her lips as she listened to the sad music. She shook her head and sighed. Bastard, who is Wang Kai? Where are you? Get out here right now. How dare you say that I am your wife, and that I have slept with you more than 10 times? You're courting death. Suddenly, a young girl about 17 or 18 years old wearing a red dress stepped into the pavilion. Hearing the music, she blinked her beautiful eyes and looked at Wang Kai. She said disdainfully, "Stop playing. This is Senior Sister Yun's place of seclusion. Outsiders are not allowed to enter easily. I believe you are the Wang Kai they were talking about, right? You actually said that you had a relationship with Xian. Yun Yan, who had been listening attentively to the music, frowned slightly as her expression turned cold. A feeling of being cheated surged into his heart. This caused her to be extremely displeased, her anger surging to the heavens. She is the one I mentioned earlier, the one who lost his true love. This song was created for her. Wang Kai slowly stopped and looked at the young girl with a sorrowful expression. What? Hearing this, Yun Yan's expression froze and she couldn't help but take a few steps back. He had never thought that the so-called lost love would actually be Wen Xian. Bullshit. Who is your true love? Who did you lose? I am still alive and well. Wen Xian furrowed her brows as her face turned green. Xian, you are still the same as you were in the future. You are very arrogant, but deep down, you are a very kind and loyal woman. It is because of this that I fell in love with you in the future. Wang Kai slowly got up and walked in front of her affectionately. He reached out his hand and was about to touch her face. Where did you come from, you charlatan? You are too bad at deceiving people, aren't you? You fell in love with me in the future? I am still your mother in the future. When Xian pouted, her expression extremely disdainful. She looked at him as if he was a liar, an idiot. She was not as gullible as Yun Yan, who believed Wang Kai's nonsense. Ahem, this girl is a bit difficult to deal with. Wang Kai's face darkened as he was speechless. What he said may be true because he is in the imperishable stage and has not recovered his cultivation. Yun Yan pursed her red lips and reminded him for some reason. She was not sure about this feeling. She did not want to be deceived and wanted to believe that everything was real. In response, Wang Kai frowned slightly as a sense of guilt welled up in his heart. Yun Yan had lost her eyes at the age of 3 and had been cultivating in seclusion all this time. Perhaps in her heart she was also yearning for something, right? Otherwise, she would not have been so easily fooled. You are in the imperishable stage? Are you for real? When Xian blinked her beautiful eyes and walked in front of Wang Kai, she looked him up and down and shook her head. I couldn't tell. You look more like a spoiled brat, and an ignorant one at that. Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He really wanted to tell her, Miss, you guessed it right. Xian, don't call me Xian, call me Grandaunt. You don't have to call me Mother anymore. In the future, I will really be your mother. I came back to the past from the future in order to reunite with you as mother and son. Wen Xian curled her lips and interrupted with a sneer. She stared at Wang Kai as if she was serious. This girl is definitely not a good person. Wang Kai was speechless. She was able to infer many things from one case. She used his own tricks, clever words, and serious feelings to counter him. Believe it or not, the truth cannot be changed. Wang Kai shook his head and said with his hands behind his back, "Ha ha ha, you want me to believe you? No problem, show me the evidence." "Oh right, senior sister Yun, have you been bewitched by him? Why do you trust him so much? In my opinion, he is just a charlatan," Wen Xian said disdainfully. Yun Yan's face turned red and she quickly turned her back to him. How could she tell Wen Xian about the secrets that Wang Kai had told her? For a moment, Yun Yan did not know how to answer. Is there any X-ray vision that can be used without them noticing? I want to see this little girl's figure, ahem, I want to see if there is anything special on her body. If there is, take it out and use it. Wang Kai's face was expressionless as he secretly communicated with the system. Host, you only need to activate the X-ray vision. Every time, 100 bragging points will be used. It will last for 100 breath. Hearing the prompt, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly and he quickly said, "Activate the X-ray vision function." Congratulations to the host for successfully activating X-ray vision. This time, 100 bragging points will be used. Buzz. After waiting for the system notification to disappear, Wang Kai's gaze swept over and immediately saw through Wen Xian's dress. An extremely beautiful and exquisite body was reflected in his eyes. That tender and beautiful body, so small that it could be held in one hand, it was so exciting that Wang Kai was secretly furious. She doesn't seem to have a mark on her body? Or is there something behind me? Wang Kai frowned. After looking around, he pretended to be sad and turned around. He walked behind Wen Xian and sighed, "Xianer, it's okay if you don't believe me. I am willing to wait until you believe me." Chapter 1284. F***K. You don't even have a back? Wang Kai was speechless. Wen Xian did not even have a birthmark on her body. She did not even have a single wound. As expected of the daughter of a sovereign, her body was well maintained. "Then I will make you wait. You may not believe me now, but one day, I will make you believe that I am your future mother." Wen Xian was not in a hurry as she responded with a smile. "Stop fooling around. Junior sister Xian, if you don't believe me, please leave." Yun Yan frowned as she coldly asked them to leave. "I won't, why should I leave? Senior sister Yun, if you keep such a shameless person here, he may disrespect you at any time." Wen Xian pouted as she spoke. She sat on the chair and stared at Wang Kai with no intention of leaving. "Wang Kai, come to the second floor." Yun Yan pursed her red lips as she spoke hesitantly. "All right." Wang Kai was naturally overjoyed, and he immediately took small steps up to the second floor. Along the way, he secretly rolled his eyes at Wen Xian and gave her a sinister smile. "You are indeed a bad person." Wen Xian was enraged when she saw this. She stood up with an ugly expression and was about to rush up to protect Yun Yan. However, before she could even take a step up, she was stopped by Yun Yan's aura and was unable to take even half a step forward. "Xian, stop fooling around, this is Cloud Tower," Yun Yan coldly reprimanded. "But senior sister Yun, he is definitely not a good person. Why don't you believe me and not him?" Wen Xian was instantly flustered. Wang Kai had clearly revealed a sinister smile just now. His expression was clearly saying, "What can you do to me?" But Yun Yan believed him. "We have no right to judge the good or bad of others. Leave." Yun Yan coldly said. Let's go inside. There's another song called Fate Runs Deep. It's a song I wrote for you in the future, after we marry." Wang Kai looked at her tenderly. As he spoke, he reached out and grabbed her soft, jade-like hand. Yun Yan's body trembled violently as she pursed her lips tightly. She tried to pull her hand back, only to find that Wang Kai's expression was filled with sadness. Seeing him like this, Yun Yan blushed slightly and allowed him to hold her hand. Come here. Wang Kai pretended to be pleasantly surprised and laughed softly. He gently held Yun Yan's hand and slowly disappeared down the stairs. Only Wen Xian, who was in a daze, was left behind. Even now, she was still in a daze. She could not believe what had happened to senior sister Yun Yan. She actually trusted him so much? Let him hold her hand? And he even called her Yan. Damn bastard! I won't let you off. Wang Kai's sinister smile appeared in her mind, causing Wen Xian's body to tremble violently. Her delicate face turned ashen. Buzz. At the same time, celestial music could be heard from the second floor. From the sound of the zither, one could sense the joy of meeting and knowing each other, to blossom and bear fruit, as well as a deep sense of happiness. However, when Wen Xian heard the zither music, she felt as if she was about to go crazy. Hooligans aren't scary. What's scary is that hooligans know how to sweet talk and play the zither. Wen Xian gritted her teeth and furrowed her brows. She coldly stared at the second floor and suddenly sneered. Wang Kai, if you don't come down and apologize to senior sister Yun, I will ask my father to beat you back to your original state. Imperishable stage? Haha, my father is a supreme being. Buzz. However, there was no response from the second floor. Not only did the music continue, it became even more intense. It was as if a man and woman in love couldn't hold back their love, and the heavenly lightning stirred up the earthly fire. This is so infuriating. Bang! Ah, who kicked me? With a kick, Wen Xian woke up the unconscious demon monkey on the ground. Ho Xiaohua, don't you know that your master has been deceived? Wen Xian rolled her eyes in annoyance. Deceived by who? Deceived by who? The monkey demon was stunned. He couldn't help but sit up and listen to the beautiful music from the second floor. Wow, such beautiful music! When did my mistress learn how to play the zither? Black lines appeared on Wen Xian's forehead when she heard this. She glared at Yun Yan and gritted her teeth angrily. Just you wait. Wang Kai, just you wait. Young Master Wang, your cultivation hasn't recovered yet. You should hide for a while. If the supreme being of the Taoist sect really comes, I'm afraid I can't protect you. Yun Yan frowned and reminded him softly when the music stopped. No, I won't leave you. Even if I die, I won't leave you again. Wang Kai gently shook his head, gazing at her affectionately, and softly said, You can't understand the feeling of being unable to do anything when you disappear in front of me. You can't understand the pain of having to part with you when I see you again. I've decided. In the future, even if we don't grow old together in the past, I will die in front of you. Yun Yan was immediately moved. She pursed her red lips and said softly, If you die in front of me, what if I'm sad? Will you be sad? Cough cough, you don't have any memories of the future. Wang Kai rubbed his nose and said awkwardly, I shouldn't be sad. Yun Yan tilted her head and pursed her red lips. When she said this, even Yun Yan was amused by herself. That's it then. Since you won't be sad, then let me die before you. I'll go forth to search for the future you and reunite with her in the underworld. As for you, you didn't fall in love with me in the past. Without my existence, it would be a better form of release. Sigh, if not for my deep feelings, I wouldn't have come to see you. I shouldn't have told you about us. At the end, Wang Kai shook his head and sighed regretfully. Wang Kai is in the cloud tower. Go in quickly and catch him. Wen Xian's angry voice suddenly came from outside. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly. Using his divine sense, he discovered that the newcomers were only 4 undead stage Dao sect elders. For a moment, he couldn't help but smile and say, they aren't supremes. It seems that I can take a few more glances at you and accompany you for a while. When she heard this, Yun Yan's heartstrings were tugged again. Junior niece Yun, your master is traveling outside. We didn't mean to offend her. Please leave the cloud tower quickly and let us catch Wang Kai. An elder's warning was transmitted into the cloud tower. Chapter 1285. It's the four divine beasts' elders. They're in charge of the four divine beasts and have a life and death contract with them. Yun Yan frowned, pursed her lips, and said in a low voice, quickly escape from the back. I'll hold them off for a while. No, I can't be separated from you again. Besides, I'm not afraid of four Eternal Realm experts. Wang Kai shook his head, looking at her affectionately. Since he realized that the intruders were only Eternal Realm experts, Wang Kai's wariness disappeared without a trace. As for the matter of being in charge of the four divine beasts and having a life and death contract with them, Wang Kai was even more disdainful. Thinking back, he had met dragons, phoenixes, and even fierce beasts like Cheongqi. He had never been afraid of them. You don't understand. The four divine beasts are very strong. If the four elders transform into the four divine beasts, their battle strength will multiply. Ordinary Eternal Realm experts won't be able to resist them. Furthermore, if they fuse into one, they will have the battle strength of a supreme being for an hour. You're invincible. Quickly escape from the back. I'll hold them off for a while. As long as you're alive, you can come and see me whenever you want. As Yun Yan spoke, she stood up and walked down the stairs. Regarding this, Wang Kai was extremely speechless. He didn't expect the four divine beasts to have the ability to fuse. After fusing, they would have the battle strength of a supreme being from the Eternal Realm? He's already escaped. Elders, please leave quickly. Yun Yan said coldly, standing at the door of the cloud tower with her hands behind her back. Escaped? Hearing this, Wen Xian frowned. She pursed her red lips and coldly snorted. Senior Sister Yun, it looks like you've really been deceived by that brat. Even now, you're still protecting him. Humph, you must have hidden him, right? No, young miss, we really can't detect the auras of others. We can't detect any aura or trace. It's very strange. He must have escaped far away. The four imperishable stage elders looked at each other and said with ugly expressions. They had heard from Wen Xian that an Eternal Realm expert had come to the Cloud Tower to deceive Yun Yan and provoke Wen Xian. The four elders, who had been waiting for the battle, had come together to ensure a safe victory. However, it was only now that they discovered that in the end, they had still underestimated the abilities of their opponent. They had actually escaped without a trace, and had not been able to discover the slightest trace. If they were to fight, they wouldn't be able to defeat him. I don't believe it. I'm going in. Wen Xian gritted her teeth and rushed into the Cloud Tower. She quickly went up to the second floor. You're looking for me? Wang Kai sat on the ground with a smile. When he saw Wen Xian walk in, he waved his hand. Buzz! With a sweep, Wen Xian didn't even have the time to cry out before she was caught in Wang Kai's arms. Her chest was even grabbed by his hand. It's over. Over. I've been violated. Wow. I've been violated. Unable to speak, Wen Xian's mind went blank. She could only cry in her heart. Tell them now that I've already left. Otherwise, I'll immediately crush this place of yours. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said playfully. Whoosh. He crushed her. Hearing this, Wen Xian's body trembled. Her face turned pale and she nodded. Buzz. After Wang Kai released Wen Xian, she looked outside and said in a trembling voice, He has escaped, Miss, why do you say that? Could it be, oh no. Go save Miss. In an instant, the four elders looked at each other and turned pale with fright. They hurriedly took a step forward and arrived on the second floor in a few flashes. They saw Wen Xian, who was in Wang Kai's arms. Wang Kai's hand was on her chest. Judging from his fingers, he must have used a lot of strength. Bastard! Let Miss go. Or else we'll kill you. The 4 elders were infuriated. They uttered thunderous roars. How could you set me up like this? Suddenly, Wang Kai rose to his feet and pushed Wen Xian aside. He pointed at her and said in a sorrowful tone, "Even if you want to kill me, you don't have to set me up like this, right? You're the love of my past life. It doesn't matter if you don't remember me, but I'll never do anything to you. Why do you want me to die so badly?" Whoosh! Hearing this, Wen Xian was dumbfounded. She stared at Wang Kai with a blank expression. At that instant, she forgot to refute his words. She was completely stunned by his words. He was the one who had violated her. Now, he was saying that she had purposely allowed him to violate her in order to set him up? How could there be such a despicable person in this world? How could a person be so shameless? Elders, please leave Cloud Tower. He's my husband. I won't let you touch him. Moreover, you all know junior sister Wen's character. She wants to use this opportunity to kill Wang Kai. It's not surprising that she would use such a method. Yun Yen said coldly with a frown. Hearing this, the 4 imperishable stage elders couldn't help but look at each other. Indeed, Wen Xian had always done whatever she wanted in the sect. Moreover, she had used all kinds of methods to set people up. She had done too many things to set people up. Even they, the 4 imperishable stage elders, had been set up by her countless times. However, they didn't expect her to use such a method this time. She had sacrificed so much. Would I be so stupid? Would I hurt myself to kill him? Wen Xian was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She was about to go crazy. He's my husband. Please don't disturb us anymore. Yun Yen emphasized coldly. Whoosh, whoosh. Hearing this, Wen Xian took a few steps back. Yun Yan's status in the 5 Xiandao sect was not much lower than hers. With her master's ability, although she hadn't reached the supremacy stage, her battle strength was on par with the supremacy of the Dao sect. If she insisted on protecting Wang Kai, no one would be able to do anything to him. Even so, Wen Xian was unwilling to accept this. I don't care. He just violated me. He must pay the price. Wen Xian gritted her teeth and shouted angrily. What price do you want me to pay? Wang Kai walked forward slowly with his hands behind his back. He was overjoyed that Yun Yen had said that he was her husband. If this continued, he wouldn't be far from taking her down. I don't care about you. You must pay the price that satisfies me. Wen Xian pursed her red lips and clenched her fists as she stared coldly at Wang Kai. Chapter 1286. Is this a sufficient price? Buzz. Pfft. In an instant, under the incredulous gazes of several people, Wang Kai actually used his palm as a knife and directly stabbed it into his chest. In an instant, blood splattered everywhere. Look, this heart is my heart. It's red. This proves that I have no intention of harming you. Wang Kai grinned as he looked at her. Then, he crushed his heart again. His blood regenerated and his wounds healed completely. Hiss hiss, this scene caused the 4 elders' faces to be filled with shock. They could not help but take a few steps back. They had never seen such a capable person in this world. Even Yun Yen was shocked into a daze. After seeing that Wang Kai was fine, she finally calmed down. Then, she stepped forward and grabbed his hand, coldly saying, I don't want you to do such a thing again. Yes, just this once. Wang Kai gently nodded. Then, he looked at the pale Wen Xian and asked, Are you satisfied? In response, Wen Xian moved her lips and took a few steps back. She did not know what to say. The other party had even dug out his heart. How was she going to punish him? Even though she did not know why he was fine, he should at least feel pain, right? The pain of having one's heart dug out, just thinking about it made her shudder. You win. This is not over yet. Wen Xian tightly gritted her teeth and angrily rebuked before turning to leave. The 4 elders cupped their fists towards Wang Kai and said, A young hero. For elders, how about we have a spar? Just as the 4 elders were about to leave, Wang Kai surprisingly called out to stop them. A spar? Wang Kai. The 4 elders turned around and looked coldly at Wang Kai. Yun Yan's face turned anxious as she angrily shouted. Don't worry, I'll be fine, Wang Kai gently said. But I can't fight with 4 elders. Good, what a young man. The 4 of us agree to fight with you. Don't worry, Martial Nephew Yun. We won't harm him. In the end, under the promise of the 4 elders and Wang Kai's insistence, Yun Yan had no choice but to nod and agree. It's been a long time since I've had a good fight. I wonder how capable these 4 imperishable stage elders are? Can you let me enjoy myself to the fullest? Wang Kai rubbed his nose. With a tap of his foot, he stepped into the air. When the 4 elders saw this, they looked at each other and stepped into the sky in 4 different directions. The power of the azure dragon. Strength of the white tiger. The power of the vermilion bird. The power of the black tortoise. 1. In an instant, as the 4 elders roared, the azure dragon appeared. The white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise also appeared around them. His aura had increased by several times. If they were at the peak of the imperishable realm before, they had now surpassed the peak. They were only a step away from the supremacy realm. Their battle strength was infinitely close to the supremacy realm. In response, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he smiled in satisfaction. Not bad, the battle strength of the 4 elders is indeed very strong. Looks like I will be able to have a good battle. Sky Piercer. 1. A large halberd appeared in Wang Kai's hand. As he brandished it, it gave rise to wind. Under the pressure, his aura was also at the peak of the imperishable realm. And it was the same as the 4 elders. They were at the same level. Heroes indeed come from the young. If you use the power of the 4 divine beasts, your battle strength will surpass the imperishable realm. Even if you don't reach the supremacy realm, you will have the battle strength of the supremacy realm, just like Martial Nephew Yun's master, Fairy Yun. The elder with the azure dragon on his back nodded in admiration. The other 3 elders were also full of admiration after their shock. He could reach such battle strength without using any external force. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was invincible within the same realm. If he did not use the power of the 4 divine beasts, it would be almost impossible to be on par with Wang Kai. Come on, 4 elders, quickly attack together. I just want to have a good fight. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and waved the sky piercer. He stepped into the air and laughed loudly. Alright. Attack. 1. Rumble. Rumble. In an instant, under the joint attack of the 4 elders, the battle circle of Wang Kai and the other 4 moved from mid-air to a higher altitude. Looking up from the ground, only 5 tiny dots could be seen constantly colliding with each other. Moreover, every attack caused the void to collapse and a loud sound to roll. The powerful aftershocks shook the entire Taoist gate, causing it to tremble endlessly. All the elders and disciples were so frightened that their faces were filled with horror. Aren't those the 4 divine beasts' elders? Gosh, who is that young man fighting with them? How can he be so powerful? Could he be a new monster in our Taoist gate? Ah, that's the outer disciple Wang Kai. The one who dominated the proud battle platform. He's so terrifying? In an instant, the crowd exclaimed in surprise. It could be said that they regarded Wang Kai as a god. One had to know that the 4 divine beasts' elders were the 3rd strongest in the Wushuan gate. They were pillars of the gate. Other than the strongest Taoist gate supreme and Yun Yan's master, Fairy Yun, the 4 divine beasts' elders were the strongest. Moreover, if they joined forces, their combat strength would be comparable to the 2nd strongest, Fairy Yun. Damn bastard, how can he be so strong? At the same time, when Xian, who was fuming with anger, immediately gritted her teeth when she saw this scene. She stomped her feet and cursed non-stop. Even the 4 divine beasts' elders could not do anything to Wang Kai. Did they really have to ask the gate leader of the Taoist gate to keep him in check? Damn it, senior sister Yun is protecting him. Even if we ask my father, he won't care. This is so infuriating. When Xian gritted her teeth and kept shouting, "One, bang!" At the same time, in the sky, Wang Kai and the 4 divine beasts' elders each took dozens of steps back after the exchange. In the previous exchange of blows, they had exchanged thousands of blows. Moreover, Wang Kai still had the upper hand. In fact, the power of the 4 divine beasts' elders was gradually weakening. If they continued to fight, it would not be long before the power of the 4 divine beasts' elders completely disappeared. When that time came, they would not be able to block even one blow from Wang Kai. Not bad, right? Combine yourselves and fight with me. Wang Kai frowned and felt all the muscles in his body relax. The long-awaited feeling of a great battle was as if his blood was boiling again. It seemed that his previous guess was right. He could indeed fight to his heart's content after coming to District 1. He could use his true combat strength and not rely on external forces like his mechanic form and strengthening skills. The feeling brought about by this battle was naturally different. Let's not fight anymore. If we use the 4 divine beasts' integration mystic technique, our combat strength will reach the level of a supreme. At that time, you will definitely not be our match. That's right, we will also suffer some losses. Let's stop here. The 4 divine beasts' elders shook their heads and refused. Chapter 1287. Stop here? How can that do? Wang Kai was extremely displeased when he heard that. He raised his brow and said in a bored manner, "I didn't even use my full strength earlier on and was fighting with the same combat strength as all of you. Although it was satisfying, it wasn't enough yet." The moment he said that, the 4 elders could not help but exchange glances, secretly feeling speechless. As for Wang Kai's claim of hiding his true strength, the 4 elders naturally did not believe it at all. Wang Kai had clearly used all his combat strength in the battle earlier on. It did not seem like he had any strength left. "Young man, your talent is very strong. To be able to reach such a cultivation realm at such a young age, we've already lost to you in terms of age. That's right, there's no need for us to continue fighting. You're called Wang, right? Not bad. With you in Dao sect, you'll definitely be able to defeat all the geniuses of the other 6 great Dao sects. If you're in danger, feel free to look for us. The 4 of us old fellows are willing to use the combined power of the 4 symbols in a life and death battle to protect our geniuses." The 4 elders dispersed the power of the 4 symbols and looked at Wang Kai with warm smiles. The meaning behind their words was very simple. Using the combined power of the 4 symbols would definitely consume some energy. That sort of consumption was extremely huge. They would not use it unless they had no other choice. If Wang Kai was in danger, all of them were determined to sacrifice their lives to protect Wang Kai's safety. Wang Kai frowned towards that and retracted his arrogance. He cupped his fists and bowed. "I've embarrassed myself in front of the 4 elders. It's fine. Haha, it's only natural for a young man to have an arrogant heart. To think that we were as domineering and arrogant as you in the past. Ha 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 ha." As they laughed, the 4 elders had already flicked their sleeves and left in the air. Clearly, the battle earlier on was very satisfying for them as well. It also proved the birth of a genius. They would be able to witness his growth with their own eyes. Regarding this, the 4 symbols elders were all very gratified and excited. "You did well just now." After Wang Kai floated down, Yun Yen gracefully stepped forward and greeted him in a gentle voice. Clearly, she was very satisfied with Wang Kai's respectful behavior towards the 4 symbols elders. Even if Wang Kai came from the future and his cultivation at his peak would surpass the imperishable realm, as a powerhouse, he couldn't ignore his emotions. This proved that Wang Kai was a qualified expert. It's all right." Wang Kai rubbed his nose, speechless. If it wasn't for the fact that they were old and still wanted to protect the younger generation, he really wanted to force them to go all out. More importantly, he had to show off in front of Yun Yen. Are you tired? Go back to the cloud tower and rest. I'll make you some tea. Yun Yen pursed her red lips and chuckled, her face slightly red. Regarding this, Wang Kai didn't know why, but he surprisingly calmed down. After a big battle, a woman said, "Are you tired? I'll make you some tea." How carefree and unrestrained was this? No, I have to take care of Jingxian and the others in the future. If all of them were as gentle and well-mannered as Yun Yen, how great would that be? Wang Kai furrowed his brows as he thought about it. Damn bastard, not only did he not get beaten up, he even won the favor of the Four Symbols elders. This is so infuriating. In the distance, when Xian pursed her red lips tightly and angrily stared at Wang Kai's back. She called the Four Symbols elders because she wanted to teach him a lesson. In the end, it was all because of him. Instead, the Four Symbols elders had become his hired thugs and bodyguards. When Xian couldn't accept this and secretly gritted her teeth. "Xian, do you know that young man?" Buzz. As a faint voice sounded, a middle-aged man wearing a black robe with an extraordinarily handsome face appeared at the side. This person was the supreme of the 5 Xian Dao sect, Wenren Dao. "Father, I don't know that bastard." When Xian pursed her red lips and snorted with an ugly expression. "Haha, if you like him, I can make the decision for you and let him marry you." Wenren Dao smiled faintly with his hands behind his back. "I like him?" When Xian curled her lips in disdain and said disdainfully, "Father, you're wrong this time. I'm not interested in that bastard at all. Also, I want you to teach him a lesson. Don't let him deceive senior sister Yun again." He even said that he came from the future and is senior sister Yun's future husband. He even said that I am his future love. How despicable! From the future. After hearing this, when Renren frowned, he thought for a while and said, "There are countless almighties in the world. Although I'm invincible in the 3rd universe, there are still the 2nd and 1st universes. Maybe he really came from the future." What? Wen Xian's face froze. She might not believe the words of others, but she had to carefully consider the words of her father, who was a supreme being. How could a supreme being speak nonsense so casually? He would not help Wang Kai lie, right? Regardless of whether it is true or not, you should be careful. If it is true, it may become your opportunity. This is your luck and your fortune. Xian, it is something that can only be found by chance. You must treat it seriously. When Rindao put his hands behind his back and warned her with a serious face. Wang Kai was able to reach the undying realm at such a young age. This was indeed strange. It was unheard of. Even the Honorable Wenren Dao was a little shocked and uncertain. But father, he is really despicable. Moreover, he must be pretending. Senior sister Yun was deceived by him. When Xian recalled the sinister smile that Wang Kai had purposely revealed, she immediately gave up on believing her father's word. The more he thought about it, the more he was convinced that everything about Wang Kai was fake. It was absolutely impossible for him to be a powerhouse from the future. Such a series of lies was just to get senior sister Yun Yan into his hands. Regardless of whether it is true or not, Xian, this man is not an ordinary person. Don't be his enemy. If you don't want to be his enemy, I will kill him myself before he becomes strong. When Rendao's eyes turned cold as he said in a deep voice, if when Xian was determined to be Wang Kai's enemy, she would definitely maximize her hatred towards him in the end. At that time, it would be better to kill Wang Kai before he grew up to deal with him. In this way, they could eliminate all future troubles. It had to be said that when Rindao, who had reached the supreme realm, was indeed far-sighted. He naturally had to eliminate potential threats in advance. No, we don't have to kill him, do we? He is not so bad that he has to die. Wen Xian pursed her red lips and shook her head. Chapter 1288. So this is the prime of the Wuxuan Dao sect? Wang Kai squinted his eyes as he sensed Wen Rindao outside. Due to the system, Wen Rindao did not sense Wang Kai's presence. What are you talking about? Prime. Prime? Yunyan frowned. As she spoke, she released her divine sense. When she sensed Wen Rindao and Wen Xian standing outside, her expression changed. Yen don't worry. Although this person wants to kill me, he won't do anything to me. Wang Kai waved his hand and comforted her. Needless to say, the killing intent of the 5 profound Dao sect's sovereign was definitely caused by his daughter, Wen Xian. This little girl is really troublesome. Wang Kai was speechless. He was thinking if he should find an opportunity to find a special way to teach her a lesson. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome to call over the 4 symbols elders of the imperishable stage one moment and supreme Laozi the next. Prime has left. Yunyan's brows relaxed as she let out a sigh of relief. When she saw Ji Zun standing outside, Yunyan could be said to be secretly breaking out in cold sweat. No matter how strong Wang Kai was, he couldn't be stronger than a prime, right? If the 2 sides really fought, Wang Kai's fate would be extremely miserable. Yunyan didn't want that to happen. Yes, he let us find him on purpose. This person is interesting. However, I only need 1 night to recover my strength. By then, prime is nothing. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather casual expression. 1 night to surpass prime? Yunyan was shocked. She didn't know that Wang Kai's true strength had long surpassed prime. The so-called 1 night to recover was just to dispel Yunyan's wariness. After all, he had told her before that his cultivation hadn't recovered yet. Yes, it should be possible. Wang Kai gently nodded and said in a rather confident and soft voice. What kind of future do you mean by future? The future of the 3rd universe or the future of the other universes? Yunyan frowned and asked coldly. She knew very well that in Universe 3, Ji Zun was the strongest. It was impossible for an expert to surpass the Supreme Being level. Only in the mysterious and unfathomable Universe 2 and Universe 1, outside of Universe 3, would there be terrifying experts surpassing the Supreme Being realm. But if Wang Kai is from there, why would he come to Universe 3? And in the future of the 3rd universe, they met and got to know each other? All these suspicious points made Yunyan secretly suspicious. I came from the 1st universe. Well, I was originally the ruler of the 1st universe. To tell you the truth, I'm not afraid that you'll laugh at me. I was too strong and I was very lonely. So, I traveled everywhere. When I came to the 3rd universe, I stopped to play and met a true love, which is Wen Xian. Unfortunately, in the end, because I didn't protect her well enough, she died. That's why I met you. Unfortunately, once again. At the end of his speech, Wang Kai pretended to be extremely sad and indignant, as if he was hiding an infinite amount of anger. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. Wait. Yunyan raised her head and looked at Wang Kai with her pale and colorless eyes. She said coldly, Aren't you the strongest person in the 1st universe? Haven't you reached the realm of invincibility? If that's the case, why did you suffer in the 3rd universe? Hearing this, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He was speechless. He never thought that he would go overboard with his bragging. He didn't even think of such an important thing. Ahem, actually, there are stronger experts outside the 1st universe. I'm no match for them, but because of my arrogance in the beginning, I provoked them. Therefore, I've implicated you. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed repeatedly. Experts outside of the 1st universe. Yunyan was silent for a moment. She couldn't believe Wang Kai's words, and she couldn't deny what he said. Now, she could only half believe and half doubt. Then when you come to the past, will you be pursued by experts outside of the first universe? Yun Yen pursed her red lips and asked coldly. This should be. After all, they are much stronger than me. The abilities I have should be nothing to them. Yes, recently I felt that 3 old opponents are rushing over, but I'm not sure. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a smile. Which 3? Are they in the 5 profound Tao sect? Yun Yen stood up and asked worriedly. Not here. Among the 3 of them, 1 is a dog demon that turned into a spirit, 1 is a bull demon that turned into a spirit, and 1 is a cat demon that turned into a spirit. In short, they are not human beings. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually. They are all beasts? Hearing this, Yun Yen frowned and said after thinking, Do you have a way to deal with it? If not, quickly leave the past and return to the future. That won't do. If I escape and cause the 3 of them to be angry and implicate you and Wen Xian, what should I do? I'd rather die in the past with all of you than go back to the future alone and live a life without all of you. Really, at the end, Wang Kai lowered his head. His expression was indescribably sad. However, Wang Kai's heart was already blooming with joy. She thought to herself, I've been laying the groundwork for such a long time just for this sweet talk. After all, for a female expert like Yun Yen, ordinary methods wouldn't work. Then bring us back to the future together. Yun Yan's expression was serious as she pursed her red lips and said softly, Return to the future together? Wang Kai felt quite helpless when he heard this. Even he himself didn't know if there was such a method. I can't go back. I have to at least surpass the limit of the first universe before I can control time and return to the future. Right now, I can only return to the past even further. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Then bring us along and travel further into the past. It's better than implicating the innocent people of the 5 Xian Dao sect and constantly being in danger. Yun Yen furrowed her brows and said in a low voice, Is she so serious? Wang Kai was speechless. Then, his eyes lit up and he said, It won't work. In the past, there are younger versions of you. You can't appear there. I can come to the past because you don't exist in the future. Hearing this, Yun Yan's frown deepened. At this moment, there was no other way. However, there is a way that can help us get through this. Wang Kai's expression was serious as he said. Chapter 1289. What method? Tell me. Yun Yen asked solemnly. It's just, forget it, let's not talk about it. Wang Kai shook his head, pursed his lips and hesitated. Yun Yen frowned anxiously at this. Tell me quickly. I don't care what method it is, as long as I can help you, I won't hold back. Yun Yen said coldly. Wang Kai was secretly overjoyed when he heard this, but he pretended to be troubled and said hesitantly, You haven't fallen in love with me yet. We can't complete that method, and I don't want to think too much about you. What method is it? If you don't tell me, I won't see you again. Yun Yen furrowed her brows, looking extremely displeased. As he spoke, he turned his body around. It was obvious that if Wang Kai didn't say anything, she would ignore him. That's right, we need our child to be born. As long as our child is born in the past, our child will appear in the future. At that time, with his abilities, he will be able to defeat my enemies. Wang Kai said with a serious expression. What? That's the method? Hearing this, Yun Yan's face turned red as her body trembled. She pursed her lips and asked in a trembling voice, Why are you so sure that our children will be able to defeat the enemies outside the universe in the future? I told you before that in the future world, you are pregnant. Our child, even before it is born, will possess immense potential and power. It will be unimaginably strong. I'm afraid that when he is born, he will be stronger than me. Wang Kai gazed at her affectionately and said with a serious expression. For a moment, Yun Yen was speechless. She didn't know anything about the future at all. Everything she heard was from Wang Kai. Who could be sure if it was true or not? Because she didn't know, she was hesitant. Forget it, I don't want to do that. Let's wait. If I can break through my original cultivation level, I might be able to protect you. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. What about you? Yun Yen looked at him seriously and asked. Me? Protecting all of you is already the best I can do. How can I take care of myself? Don't worry, this is the price I should pay. Wang Kai gently shook his head and waved his hand nonchalantly. No. Yun Yen pursed her lips and rejected him coldly. For some reason, he just didn't want anything to happen to Wang Kai. This made her unable to think clearly. The two of them had only met for a short while, yet they already had such thoughts. Could it be that in the future she would really be his wife? If you say no, then no. Since you can't do it, then come at me. Really? Wang Kai looked calm on the surface, but he was very anxious in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to maintain a gentlemanly attitude, he really wanted to rush up to her, push her to the ground and ruthlessly ravage her. Is there no other way? After a long silence, Yun Yen finally pursed her red lips and spoke in a trembling voice. Hearing this, Wang Kai secretly thought that the time had come. As for other methods, even if there were, he wouldn't King say it. Moreover, there was no need to deal with an unknown strong enemy. No. Wang Kai smiled bitterly and shook his head gently. Then what should we do? Yun Yen pursed her red lips and her pretty face became redder. He thought that she would directly say, then come at me. However, in the end, she actually said, what should he do? For a moment, Wang Kai's forehead was full of black lines. Just now, he almost pounced on her. Fortunately, he didn't do so. Otherwise, it would be a big problem. I'm not ready yet. Let me, young Lord Kai, bad news. A genius called Grandpa Mao from the Heaven and Earth Tao sect has brought many disciples of the Heaven and Earth Tao sect to the 5 Xian Tao sect to challenge the heroes. Young Lord Kai, the daughter of the Heaven and Earth Tao sect's sovereign, is also riding a black bull. She said that she wants to help the black bull to fight the 5 Xian Tao sect. Following the sound of Chao Nima and Chu Tada, Wang Kai suddenly frowned. He had never thought that Lord Cat and Niu Zhetian would come so quickly. He wondered how the Dog King was doing. Why are they looking for me? Let the geniuses of the 5 Xian Tao sect accept the challenge. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually. Since Niu Zhetian and Lord Cat were ready, then he would let them fight the people of the 5 Xian Tao sect first. In the end, he would personally take action. That would be awesome. No, they said that they want to beat you. That old bull even said that he wants to *CK you. Chao Nima said loudly. *CK me? Hearing this, Wang Kai was startled. He touched his nose and stood up with a smile. My bad temper is here. They want to *CK me? *CK me. Are they the enemies you mentioned? Yun Yen pursed her red lips and asked worriedly. I don't think so. My enemies are very strong. They won't join forces with other Tao sects. They don't need to join forces with anyone. Each of them has the strength to destroy a Tao sect. Wang Kai said while shaking his head. If such strong enemies come to the 5 Xian Tao sect, then Yun Yan's expression became more and more worried. Seeing her like this, Wang Kai was secretly overjoyed. The more worried she was, the more she would break through the last line of defense. Once the rice is cooked, I'll just find a few powerful people and put on a show for it. Yen wait here for a while. Since you are a Tao sect member and Wen Xian is the daughter of a sovereign, I will help the 5 Xian Tao sect get rid of the enemies. Wang Kai said affectionately. Then, he turned around and left the cloud tower. Yun Yen pursed her red lips and her white eyes seemed to be filled with tenderness. Deep in her heart, she was even more concerned about the method. Lord Kai, that bull and Lord Mao are too strong. Yeah, they have already beaten up many of the Dao sect's geniuses. Chao Nima and Chu Tatai both frowned, their faces filled with worry. They had lost their confidence. Could Wang Kai defeat them? If he couldn't defeat them, wouldn't the support they had just gained be gone? Don't worry. Even the 4 sacred symbols elders are no match for me. What are you worried about? Wang Kai said casually with his hands behind his back. There are also Eternal Realm experts following them. They even said that if the 5 Xian Dao sect's geniuses can't defeat them, they will attack. Yes, at the cost of war. Chao Nima and Chu Tatai said. The 2 of them really know how to play. They even brought along Eternal Realm experts. Do they want to start a war? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and was speechless. He had originally planned to slowly play with the other Dao sects. It wouldn't be too late to dominate the first district after reaching the sovereign realm. Chapter 1290. At the foot of the mountain of the 5 Xian Dao sect, the Heavenly Bone Dao sect was led by the daughter of the Dao sect's leader. The Heaven and Earth Dao sect was led by Grandpa Mao. Compared to Grandpa Mao, Niu Zhetian was in a miserable state. How could he be ridden by a little girl? Humph! You're a piece of trash. Cat Lord snorted coldly through telepathy, his tone full of disdain. Niu Zhetian became even angrier when he heard Grandpa Mao's words. F***CKU. I'm still better than you. You're a beast but you turned into a human. You're shameless. Niu Zhetian reprimanded Grandpa Mao. What do you understand? This is called strategy. This is called brain. Do you understand? F***CK, you've already become someone else's mount, and you're still acting tough over there. Grandpa Mao looked at Niu Zhetian with disdain. Niu Zhetian was so angry that his body was trembling. However, he couldn't do anything to Grandpa Mao. Indeed, the gap between the 2 of them was too big. One of them was the leader of the Dao sect, while the other was the mount of the daughter of the Dao sect's leader. Is there no genius in the 5 Xian Dao sect? You're so weak. Such a trashy force actually dared to call itself Dao sect? What a bunch of trash. Niu Zhetian pointed his finger at the 5 Xian Dao sect. At the foot of the mountain, the people of the 5 Xian Dao sect, who were confronting Grandpa Mao and Niu Zhetian, turned pale when they heard Grandpa Mao's word. Many of the geniuses were severely injured. Many elders of the 5 Xian Dao sect could only stand at the side and listen with ugly expressions. Since it was a battle between the younger generation, they naturally wouldn't interfere. Unfortunately, the Dao sect couldn't find anyone who could fight against Grandpa Mao. Not long ago, I broke through to the pinnacle of the omniscient King realm through a fortuitous encounter from the Daoist gate. I've already surpassed you and the Dog King. You better be prepared later. I'm going to beat you up. Niu Zhetian glared at Grandpa Mao. He really wanted to teach Grandpa Mao a lesson. As a Daoist genius, Lord Cat naturally received special treatment. All sorts of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, as well as countless fortuitous encounters, were at Cat Lord's disposal. On the other hand, Niu Zhetian would give him more delicious food. What's more, it was grass. Although it was called an immortal grass, grass was still grass in the end. Damn it! You're really pissing me off. Niu Zhetian shouted angrily. 5 Xian Dao sect, you're a bunch of trash. You don't even have a single genius. You should just disband. Don't call it a Dao sect. In the future, call it the 5 Profound Trash Gathering Ground. The moment these words were spoken, many Daoist sect elders were enraged. Among them, the 4 Symbols elders were the most infuriated. What? You don't even want Grandpa Bull to speak. F***CK, if you're not convinced, then why don't you send out a few decent geniuses to fight? A bunch of trash, said Niu Zhetian, shaking his head. I'll fight you. You think you can fight? Understand my ass. Before a young disciple of the 5 Xian Dao sect could stand up, Niu Zhetian shouted at him and sent him flying back while vomiting blood. Lord Cat had broken through to the peak of the Xeno King realm. Niu Zhetian had broken through to the Xeno King realm. In each Taoist sect, there was only one person who had broken through to the Xeno King realm. For example, Yun Yen, the eldest senior sister of the 5 Xian Dao sect. Damn it! Wang Kai is a bastard. Why hasn't he come out yet? This is all because of him. Wang Kai is a troublemaker. He should be expelled from the Taoist sect. I can't tolerate this anymore. 4 Symbols Elders, please expel Wang Kai from the Taoist sect. Otherwise, he'll cause trouble for us. The many elders and disciples all looked at the 4 Symbols Elders. Since the Taoist sect's paragon had not appeared, the 4 Symbols Elders had the highest status. Shut up! A bunch of bastards! Elder Azure Dragon angrily rebuked. He could not wait to suppress those elders and disciples on the spot. For a genius disciple like Wang Kai to appear in the 5 Profound Dao sect, it should be the Dao sect's fortune. If he went to other Taoist sects, the 5 Xian Dao sect would face a bigger disaster. These idiots only think about the crisis in front of them. They don't think about the future, said the White Tiger Elder coldly. Who is causing trouble in the 5 Xian Dao sect? Buzz. Suddenly, Wen Xian, the daughter of the Zun Zun cultivator, arrived with a whip in her hand. She looked at Mr. Mao, Niu Zhetian and the others coldly. Hee, isn't that Wen Xian? I haven't seen you for many years. You've become more arrogant, said the young woman who was riding on Niu Zhetian's back. She smiled when she saw Wen Xian. Isn't that Li Wen Xian? TSK, I'm laughing every time I hear your name. Here's the question, how are you gentle? You're riding on a monster bull. Hee, are you crazy? Said Wen Xian with a disdainful smile. Crazy? Crazy? Li Wen Xian clenched her teeth and said angrily, I'm still better than you. Wen Xian, why don't you call yourself Wen Shit? It's a perfect match for your taste. Smelly hee. Bastard. You don't agree? No. What can you do about it? Buzz. In an instant, the 2 women looked at each other from afar. For a moment, everyone could see the sparks between the 2 women. Stop arguing. If the 5 Xian Dao sect doesn't have any geniuses, then let's join forces and destroy the 5 Xian Dao sect. If the 5 Xian Dao sect dares to attack, then let Tiangu and Qian Kuan Supreme suppress them. Today, the 5 Xian Dao sect must be destroyed, said Mr. Mao casually. Whoosh! Everyone from the 5 Xian Dao sect turned pale when they heard Mr. Mao's words. They never thought that even the 2 primes would fight against the 5 Xian Dao sect. 2 primes against 1. Was the 5 Xian Dao sect doomed? Don't worry. Even if we really fight, the 4 of us can fight against 1 primes, said Elder Green Dragon. That's right. Fairy Yun hasn't returned yet. If she returns, we can definitely defeat the 2 Dao sects. Elder White Tiger nodded and agreed. However, Mr. Cat was disdainful and did not care about them. No matter who won, as long as the sects fought, they would have achieved their goal. With me around, who dares to cause trouble for the 5 Xian Dao sect? Don't they know that the 5 Xian Dao sect is under my protection, Wang Kai? With a cold laugh, Wang Kai arrived in the air and landed beside Wen Xian. He stretched out his hand and held her in his arms. Xian, tell me, who's acting cool with you? I'll beat him up for you, Wang Kai said with a smile. Chapter 1291. Husband. The moment these words were spoken, the expressions of the elders and disciples of the 5 Profound Dao sect changed. Among them, many direct disciples were glaring angrily at Wang Kai. They had never thought that Wang Kai and Wen Xian would have such a relationship. Shut up. Whose husband are you? Who is your wife? In the future, I will be your mother. Wen Xian suddenly exploded. She glared at Wang Kai with an ugly face. Humph! Wang Kai, long time no see. Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord snorted coldly. Who are you? Since when did I know you? Wang Kai crossed his arms behind his back and frowned as he looked at them in confusion. Niu Zhetian and Lord Cat cursed inwardly when they saw this. Didn't they say that they would pretend to be old enemies and start a war? How could they not know each other now? You brought this upon yourself. You have to deal with it. When Xian frowned and snorted coldly. That's right. They are your enemies. They have nothing to do with the 5 Xian Dao sect. Now that Wang Kai is here, can you leave now? The 5 Xian Dao sect does not have a disciple like Wang Kai. In an instant, many elders and disciples cried out one after another. Shut up! Shut up! When Xian frowned and scolded the 4 sacred beasts' elders. Even though Wen Xian did not like Wang Kai, she could not expel him from the 5 Xian Dao sect. Just as her father had said, if they could not be friends, they would be enemies. Once they became enemies, they had to kill them. Otherwise, with Wang Kai's strength, he would become the biggest threat to the 5 Xian Dao sect. Oh, so you mean that even if the sky falls, I will hold it up? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and looked at them playfully. Nonsense. They are the scourge that you have attracted to you. Naturally, you have to deal with it yourself. What does it have to do with our 5 profound Dao sect? That's right, if they come to find trouble with the 5 profound Dao sect, we can handle it ourselves. Why would we need an outer court disciple like you to step in? Don't think of yourself as a savior or a genius. He's just an outer court disciple. Many elders and disciples sneered disdainfully. Even though they were well aware that Wang Kai's cultivation was on par with the elders of the 4 sacred beasts, or even slightly stronger than them, they no longer acknowledged Wang Kai's strength when the 2 Daoist factions were in trouble. Otherwise, the 5 profound Dao sect would definitely welcome a great calamity. Oh, if that's the case, then I don't care anymore. Wang Kai shrugged and immediately retreated to the side. You don't care? You speak as if they are looking for trouble with the 5 profound Dao sect. That's right, he really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. A clay bodhisattva crossing the river. You can't even protect yourself, and you still have the audacity to say that you want to help us? Stop bragging. When Wang Kai heard their words, he slightly narrowed his eyes and stretched out his hand. He said, Are you looking for trouble with me or the 5 profound Dao sect? Of course we are looking for trouble with the 5 profound Dao sect. That's right, we have heard that you are very strong in the 5 profound Dao sect, so we want to exchange pointers with you. If you are not in the 5 profound Dao sect, then join the Heaven and Earth Dao sect. Bullshit, if you want to join, then join the Heaven Bone Dao sect. If that's the case, then let's have a competition. Whoever can kill all the disciples of the 5 profound Dao sect will be the one that Wang Kai will join. Immediately after, the elders and disciples of the 5 profound Dao sect were stunned by the quarrel between Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord. They are not looking for trouble with Wang Kai. Are they trying to rope in Wang Kai? If Wang Kai really joined their Daoist faction, with his ability to fight against the 4 sacred beasts' elders, would the 5 profound Dao sect survive? For a moment, the faces of the people of the 5 profound Dao sect turned pale. Trash of the 5 profound Dao sect, who is not convinced? Get out here. Do you want me to do it myself? Then I will be too heavy-handed. Niu Zhetian said with a cold smile. I don't want to do it myself. Get out here, kneel on the ground and shout that the 5 profound Dao sect has no successor. The Cat Lord said with a faint smile. Whoosh. When the people of the 5 profound Dao sect heard this, their faces turned pale. For a moment, they all lowered their heads and gritted their teeth. They did not dare to say anything. They knew very well that among the younger generation, no one could defeat Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord. Even if the elders were there, they would not do anything. If they did, the elders of the 2 great Daoist factions would also do the same. How could a single Taoist faction be a match for two great Taoist factions? At that time, it would cause a war between the Taoist factions, and it would be even more miserable. Didn't you say that you were very strong just now? Why aren't you pissing now? Get out of here. Didn't I say that you can handle it if we come looking for trouble? Wang Kai frowned and looked at them in surprise. Then, he sneered and said, F***ck, after all this time, all of you are trash who only know how to act tough? Wang Kai. Let me do it. Buzz. In an instant, the disciples were agitated by Wang Kai's provocation. For a moment, their faces turned red and they shouted loudly. However, when one of the disciples rushed out, he was hit by Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord at the same time. He spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying back. Furthermore, one of his arms had been smashed to smithereens. When the disciples of the Five Profound Tao sect saw this, they trembled and did not dare to step forward. The anger that had just risen in their hearts disappeared in an instant. They became very clear-headed. Go on. Didn't you shout very loudly? Why are you so cowardly now? Are you still disciples of the Taoist faction? With such guts, you still dare to shout and shout? Wang Kai frowned and looked at them disdainfully. He then walked forward and waved his hand. A terrifying aura swept out. Rumble. Boom. 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 The disciples behind Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord were sent flying while spitting out blood. Even the elders were pushed back while coughing out blood. Did you see that? This is called strength. This is called the ability to act tough. You don't have the slightest ability, so why are you still acting tough? Kneel down. Wang Kai's expression turned cold as he scolded. Pressure swept out from his body and forced the disciples of the Five Mysterious Tao Gate to kneel on the ground. No, imperishable realm. The elders and disciples of the two Taoist sects turned pale. They had never thought that Wang Kai of the Five Profound Tao sect would be an imperishable realm cultivator. He is only 17 or 18 years old, right? On the other hand, the disciples of the Five Profound Tao sect who were kneeling on the ground felt ashamed and regretful. If they had not provoked Wang Kai, they would not have been humiliated like this. The two of you should go back and cultivate. In a month, the Five Profound Tao sect will hold the competition of the seven great sects. Come back then. Wang Kai shrugged and said indifferently. Chapter 1292. The Martial Arts Competition of the Seven Great Taoist Sects? Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord looked at each other and grinned. All right, let's fight when the time comes. Let's go. Niu Zhetian and the Cat Lord led the crowd away. Li Wenro glared at Wang Kai angrily and said, You are Wang Kai, right? All right, if you agree to marry me now, I won't bicker with you. As the daughter of the Tao sect's sovereign, she could only watch as her disciples were beaten up. Li Wenro was furious. After all, she had brought her disciples to avenge Niu Zhetian. In the end, all of them were beaten up and sent back. Marry you? Little girl, are you an adult? How many hairs do you have? Go back and grow up. Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually. As soon as these words came out, Li Wenru immediately clenched her teeth and left in extreme shame and anger. Don't you think you can leave the martial arts competition of the seven great Taoist sects in a month? Hearing Li Wenren's harsh words, Wang Kai curled his lip. Naturally, he was too lazy to respond. However, since such a beauty was interested in him, he had to find time to sneak into the Sky Bone Tao sect and have some fun with her. He did not agree because when Xian was here, there were many people watching. If Yun Yen heard about it, she would be in trouble. A bunch of trash. Try to act tough with me again. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back. He glanced at everyone with disdain, and then stepped into the air and left. The faces of the many elders and disciples of the Five Profound Tao sect were extremely ugly, and their hearts were filled with shame and anger. This time, he had undoubtedly lost a great deal of face. Humph! You asked for it. The elders of the four symbols snorted coldly. They were similarly infuriated by the insults Wang Kai had uttered just now. If it weren't for the fact that their identities didn't allow them to do so, they would have really struck out and taught these ignorant disciples and elders of the Taoism a good lesson. Xianer, it seems like Wang Kai is not loyal to the 5 Xian Dao sect. As a voice entered Wen Xian's ears, her delicate body immediately trembled. Father, what do you want to do? Wen Xian pursed her red lips and asked in surprise. Indeed, Wang Kai's arrogant actions showed that he did not take the 5 profound Dao sect seriously at all. Even if the elders and disciples of the Wushuan Dao Gate were disrespectful to Wang Kai, and even insulted him, there was no need for them to go this far. In this way, wouldn't he become a thorn in the side of everyone in the Dao sect? Little did he know that Wang Kai was already merciful enough. Otherwise, based on their disrespectful behavior just now, they should have been wiped out with a wave of their hands. He dared to make his own decision regarding the martial competition of the 7 great sects. He didn't even ask for my opinion. Clearly, he doesn't put me in his eyes. When Renren said with an indifferent smile, He is also helping the Dao sect to repel the enemy. If he doesn't do that, the 2 great Dao sects will join hands to deal with our 5 profound Dao sect. What should we do then? Wen Xian immediately pursed her red lips and subconsciously defended Wang Kai. The 2 great Dao sects will not join hands to deal with the 5 profound Dao sect. The 7 great Dao sects each have a strong background. Even if the 6 great Dao sects were to join hands, the 5 profound Dao sect would be defeated in the end, causing the 6 great Dao sects to suffer great losses. It was just a farce. When Renren calmly said with an indifferent tone, Then father, what do you plan to do with Wang Kai? Wen Xian pursed her red lips and asked in a worried tone. It's up to him. If his heart does not belong to the 5 profound Dao sect, then eliminate him as soon as possible. With such a threat, once he grows stronger, even the 7 great Dao sects will not be able to do anything to him. When Renren calmly said, But, of course, if you are able to capture his heart, it will be the fortune of the 5 profound Dao sect. If not, as when Renren's voice disappeared, Wen Xian's face immediately sank. Father is going to kill Wang Kai. No, I must tell Sister Yun about this. Wen Xian frowned. She hurriedly stepped into the air and rushed towards Cloud Tower. At the same time, in the sky, Wang Kai clasped his hands behind his back and looked at Niu Zhetian and the cat. He couldn't help but smile and said, Why would you come here to fight? Don't you know how to steal the resources of the 5 profound Dao sect? It's impossible to start a real bloody battle when you come here to fight. Ha ha ha, today is just a formality. Our real goal is to increase our cultivation level. The cat turned back into his human form and smiled while stroking his beard. That's right. Even though we have a high status in the Dao sect, we can't start a bloody battle with the other Dao sects. Niu Zhetian said. Can you stop acting like a pretentious prick? You have a high status? Aren't you just a mount for the daughter of a great master? The cat sneered. You! Niu Zhetian was furious. If he had known this would happen, he would have turned back into a human form like the cat. All right, I don't want to argue with you. You're just a mount, I don't have time to deal with you. Cat Grandpa stroked his beard and smiled disdainfully. He then looked at Wang Kai and said, The 7 great sects have a strong foundation. Without great strength, it is difficult to ignite their flames of war. My status is not important enough. All right. Hearing this, Wang Kai gently nodded. Then, he pointed his finger and said indifferently, I can only help you to reach the imperishable realm now. Bzzz. When Niu Zhetian and Lord Cat reached the top of the undead stage, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled playfully. Before the competition starts, You should go and take care of the disciples of the other sections. Do your best to beat them up and rob them. You should make the other sects angry. What about the 5 profound Tao sect? They're not going to do anything for now? The cat asked in surprise. All right, we don't need to worry about the Wu Xian Dao sect for now. By the way, when you see the Dog King, tell him to come to the Wu Xian Dao sect as soon as possible. Wang Kai nodded. The Dog King, Niu Zhetian, and the cat glanced at each other. They couldn't accept the Dog King's despicable appearance. They wanted to beat him up every time they saw him. Maybe the Dog King is even stronger than you, Wang Kai said mysteriously with his hands behind his back. Impossible. He's not even as powerful as Stupid Cow. No matter what, Stupid Cow is still a mount. When it comes to Dog King, it's at most a watchdog or a pet. Cat Lord stroked his whiskers and laughed mockingly. Stupid cat, do you want to die? Niu Zhetian glared at him. After reaching the indestructible layer, he became more confident. Humph, I'm praising you. The cat smiled disdainfully. Hee, I'll also praise you. I heard that you're called Grandpa Mao, right? That's a good name. You have a lot of hair. I think you should be called Mao Bai. Niu Zhetian smiled disdainfully. Niu Zhetian, you're courting death. Lord Cat's eyes turned cold, and he was so angry that he revealed his killing intent. Chapter 1293. Humph, you've said this so many times. Grandpa Niu is still alive and well, said Niu Zhetian, grunting disdainfully with his big, round eyes. You, hearing this, Cat Lord immediately pulled out 2 long sabers. He was so angry that his body was trembling. The golden earrings on his ears were buzzing. You have a lot of fur too. You should be called Awesome. Master Cat sneered. Oh, you flatter me. Master Niu is indeed awesome. Niu Zhetian laughed heartily and raised his head proudly. Master Cat was no match for Niu Zhetian in terms of words. Niu Zhetian had been defeated in just 1 round. Both of you, don't cause so much trouble. You should spread my name as much as possible. Let everyone hate me. That way I can beat them up one by one. Wang Kai said casually with his hands behind his back. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai disappeared. Are you looking at your father's basket? Master Cat snorted coldly. Unfortunately, I am looking at my father's basket. Niu Zhetian sneered disdainfully. He wagged his tail and walked away. Master Cat is so angry. Master Cat is so angry. F*CKU. Master Cat scratched his beard angrily and glared at Niu Zhetian's back. No matter what, the first thing he had to deal with was the Heavenly Bone Dao sect. At the same time, Wang Kai returned to the Cloud Tower and bumped into Wen Xian, who had just come out. What are you doing here again? Wang Kai frowned and asked through telepathy. I can come whenever I want. Why do you care? Wen Xian snorted disdainfully. She raised her hand and pushed Wang Kai aside. Then, she walked away proudly. That little girl. Tonight, I will go over and make you feel good. Wang Kai's face darkened as he inwardly snorted and went up to the 2nd floor. Yun Yen was frowning as she sat on a chair with a worried expression. Wang Kai, the supreme master of the Dao sect, wants your life. Yun Yen pursed her red lips and said coldly. What? After hearing this, Wang Kai was slightly surprised. He could not help but rub his chin as he pondered and said, Does he think that I don't place the Wushuan Dao sect in my eyes? Yes, that's right. Yun Yen gently nodded her head and said coldly in a somewhat reproachful tone, Since you already knew, why did you still do that? Can't you stand up for justice and win the respect and worship of everyone in the 5 profound Taoist sect? With your ability, you should be able to do it. The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched as he looked at her in surprise. He did not expect Yun Yen to be so smart and playful. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, You weren't there, so you don't know what those bastards are like. If it weren't for you, Yen, I would have already killed them all. But there's no need to go to such extremes, right? The Taoist sex prime is already prejudiced against you. If your heart doesn't belong to the 5 profound Taoist sect, I'm afraid there won't be a place for you here. Yun Yen gently shook her head and said, If the 5 profound Taoist sect can't accept me, then are you willing to leave with me? Wang Kai looked at her affectionately and said softly, We can be carefree birds. Otherwise, I'll create a Taoist sect and let the other 7 Taoist sects be behind us. Yun Yen pursed her red lips and said hesitantly, My master has treated me well. I can't leave the 5 profound Taoist sect, and I can't watch the 5 profound Taoist sect fall into a difficult situation. If you create a Taoist sect, it will definitely cause the Taoist sect's prime to be unhappy. At that time, a war will be inevitable. Then let's fight. A small Taoist sect's prime will not be my opponent in the future. You might not know this, but the 5 profound Taoist sect's prime was the one who introduced me to Wen Xian. It was also because of his recommendation that I got together with Wen Xian. Yes, he did it so that I could give him pointers. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and spouted nonsense. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy values. It doesn't matter if what you said is true or false. Now that you have come to this place and met Wen Xian, the Taoist sect's prime did not seek your guidance. Everything has changed. Yun Yen shook her head and said, I'm not afraid of that. Wang Kai casually waved his hand and said indifferently, When my cultivation recovers, I will casually give the 5 profound Taoist sect's prime some pointers and ask him to betroth Wen Xian to me. You want to marry Wen Xian? Without waiting for Wang Kai to finish, Yun Yen pursed her red lips and interrupted with a trembling voice. No, because of you, I can't do anything to the 5 profound Taoist sect. Since that's the case, then think of a way to make the 5 profound Taoist sect not be my enemy. Wang Kai hurriedly waved his hand and explained. He was speechless in his heart. He had almost wasted all of his previous efforts. Do you think I'm willing to marry you? Bang! Wen Xian's angry voice came from downstairs, accompanied by the sound of tables and chairs falling to the ground. Wang Kai rubbed his nose when he heard this. He was too anxious to explain and did not pay attention to what was going on downstairs. He did not know that Wen Xian had secretly returned. Quickly go and see her, in case she is unhappy with you. If that happens, she will ask the Taoist sect's prime to harm you. Yun Yen pursed her red lips and said worriedly, Ignore her. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, She's just a little girl. I know her temper very well. She will be fine in a while. You, Yen, I like you the most. Before Yun Yen could speak again, Wang Kai looked at her affectionately and gently interrupted her. Yun Yan's body trembled slightly, and she turned her head, her face slightly red. Wait here for a while, I will go and find the 5 profound Taoist sect's prime to discuss. Wang Kai slowly stood up and smiled with his hands behind his back. You can't go. Your cultivation has not recovered and you can't meet the Taoist sect's prime. Otherwise, with your personality, you will definitely bring disaster to yourself. Yun Yen hurriedly stopped him. It was obvious that although she had not met Wang Kai for long, she knew his personality very well. She had to admit that Wang Kai was a very easy person to see through. This was because his personality was also very easy to deal with. Unfortunately, no one could deal with him. Don't worry. Even if my cultivation has not recovered, a Taoist sect's prime will not be able to catch me. It will be easy for him to escape. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled. Then, he calmly tore open the void and disappeared. Since the 5 profound Taoist sect's prime wanted to kill him, he had to meet him. He also had to let him know that not everyone could be suppressed by him. He also had to let him know that if he used his true strength, it would be easy for him to destroy District 1. Chapter 1294. 5 Mysterious Tao Sect, at the peak of the 5 Mysterious Mountain. Within a magnificent pavilion, the sovereign of the 5 Xian Taoist sect, Wenren Dao, was currently in his study room, holding a painting scroll as he exclaimed in amazement. Sovereign, is the 7 Great Tao Sects martial competition really going to happen? As the 4 elders entered the study room, Wenren Dao raised his head. Do the 4 elders think this is feasible? Wenren Dao put down the scroll and asked. Wang Kai's talent is extremely high and can't be described as monstrous. Our 5 mysterious Tao sect lacks talented disciples like him. I think we should obey him. The Azure Dragon Elder said as he nodded his head. That's right. Not only is his talent extremely high, even his battle experience is terrifying. He doesn't seem like a 17 or 18-year-old youth at all. Rather, he should be an old monster that has experienced hundreds of battles. The White Tiger Elder frowned as he pondered. In response, the Vermilion Bird Elder and the Black Tortoise Elder nodded their heads in agreement. Having fought with Wang Kai before, they were naturally aware of Wang Kai's battle strength. His various methods were endless. He could counter every move and he could even counterattack. This level of battle experience was definitely not something a youth could do. Even the talented disciples of the various great Tao sects didn't have this ability. If we obey him, won't he be even more arrogant? Previously, the 4 elders have seen with your own eyes that he doesn't care much about our 5 mysterious Tao sects. Wenren Dao said. Hearing this, the 4 elders looked at each other and fell silent. Wang Kai's actions of pointing at the elders and disciples of the 5 mysterious Tao sect and insulting them was indeed a little impolite. Even if the elders and disciples of their sect were the ones who spoke rudely, Wang Kai couldn't look down on them like that. Doing so would undoubtedly bring hatred to himself. I think that Wang Kai's actions aren't wrong. Instead, they are meritorious. The Azure Dragon Elder said softly after thinking for a while. Oh! Hearing this, Wenren Dao couldn't help but look at him as a cold light flashed in his eyes. The elders and disciples of the Taoist sects do not have any camaraderie with one another. For the sake of their own safety, they abandoned Wang Kai in front of the other 2 great Taoist sects. They even spoke rudely and humiliated Wang Kai multiple times. Furthermore, they are extremely arrogant. It's not a bad idea for Wang Kai to teach them a lesson for their actions. The Azure Dragon Elder said indifferently. Yes, Big Brother's words are reasonable. The White Tiger Elder, Vermilion Elder, and the Black Tortoise Elder nodded their heads. A major Taoist sect had actually thrown Wang Kai out in the face of danger. They even boasted that they were not looking for trouble with Wang Kai, and that they could solve it themselves. Instead of looking for trouble with Wang Kai, the spearhead was pointed at them. They didn't have the courage to do so. This development sect's Tao sect's Wei sect Wenren Dao obviously understood these problems, but that didn't mean that he liked Wang Kai's way of handling things. Then let's follow the 4 elders' wishes and go along with him. We'll hold a martial arts competition between the 7 great Taoist sects. However, Wang Kai will be the only one who will fight. In that case, it can be considered that he has been rewarded and punished. It's also a good opportunity to take him down a notch so that he won't be arrogant and ignorant in the future. Wenren Dao said indifferently. The Azure Dragon Elder wanted to say something, but before he could, he was stopped by the other 3 elders. It wasn't hard to see that Wenren Dao was prejudiced against Wang Kai. If he continued to speak for Wang Kai, it would probably cause Wenren Dao's strong dissatisfaction. Forget it, let's do as the sect leader says. The Azure Dragon Elder shook his head and sighed. Then, the 4 elders left one after another. Wenren stood with his hands behind his back as he indifferently smiled and said, "What a good Wang Kai. Just one battle and you've already won the recognition of the four elders. If a bad relationship occurs between you and Yunyan and you obtain the recognition of her master, Fairy Yun, when you grow up, won't the position of sect leader of the 5 Xian Dao Gate be yours? Humph. The position of sect leader of the 5 Xian Dao sect? I don't even care if you give it to me. However, since you're so afraid that I'll steal your position, I'll take it. Buzz. Following a disdainful sneer, Wang Kai's figure appeared in the study and looked at Wenren Dao mockingly. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Wenren Dao was shocked when he saw this and subconsciously took 2 steps back. He didn't expect that he couldn't find any trace of Wang Kai when he entered the study. And he couldn't sense any aura? If he wanted to kill him, wouldn't he have succeeded? Who the hell are you? Wenren Dao asked in a deep voice with an ugly expression. Me? My name is Wang Kai, an outer disciple. I came from the future and am the ruler of the 7 universes. In the future, you're just a little piece of trash who begged me to guide you in cultivation. You're just a piece of trash who can't even be seen in public. Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Wang Kai had heard everything that Wenren Dao had just said. Due to the presence of the 4 elders, Wang Kai didn't get angry, but now, he wouldn't let this matter go so easily. Wang Kai, it seems that you're really lawless. Wenren Dao's face turned cold as he stared at Wang Kai with killing intent. He never thought that Wang Kai would be so arrogant. He actually dared to come and speak so rudely? Did he think that the leader of the Dao sect was a piece of paper? It's all right. After all, ever since I started cultivating, I've gone from a mortal place like Fanzhou to the peak of the divine realm. Then I went to the magic world and the immortal world. Now that I've come to the 3rd universe, I've never met an opponent. Those who pretended to be cool with me are basically all dead. Wang Kai shrugged and said rather casually, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience, 100 bragging points, and 1 energy point. Arrogant! Wenren Dao scolded in disdain. He flipped his hand and took out a small green cauldron. He said coldly, It seems that you really don't want to live anymore. I originally wanted to give you a chance to understand your own identity. Since you don't know what's good for you, then I don't need to show you any mercy. Clap, clap, clap. Wang Kai raised his hand and clapped a few times. He nodded and praised, You're really good at bragging. You're really good at bragging. You're still giving me a chance? You want me to reflect? How many heads do you have? Don't you know that in front of me, a dragon has to lie down and a tiger has to coil up? Buzz. In an instant, Wang Kai's body flashed with light, and he directly transformed into his mechanic form. At the same time, the enhancement skill was also used. Holding the sky piercer in his hand, he looked coldly at Wenren Dao. His aura had already surpassed Wenren Dao and reached an unknown level. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.